Good morning, everyone. It is that time again. It is Sunday already. Wasn't it just Wednesday on Wednesday? Hi, I'm Jay. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the EGM read for this week. And we got a special guest joining us again. Our good pal, Den of Geek's going to be here. He's just getting ready backstage right now. We are on issue 32. We are actually in 1992. What a great year 1992 was. Who remembers 1992? Are you that old? Do you want to admit it? Feel free to admit it. Hmm. Cheers to you guys. Good to see everybody. Raj was first. Let's hear it for Raj. I don't have my sound effects. I don't have my stream deck hooked up to StreamYard. So you just imagine applause. Good to see you, buddy. Cutthroat Yo, I heard you can buy EGMs here. From my cold dead hand, my friend. Neutron. I'm going to go to this screen, actually. Let's get everybody up here. There we go. Neutron says, Happy Sunday, Legends. Can't stay, but we'll see you soon. You got it, buddy. Bat Stan is here for the Halloween fear. See, I can do it too. Jet Screamer, good to see you. Look at this guy. My favorite stream of the week. Wow. So kind of you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Dale, the number one. The number one. What's up, buddy? Good morning. I think I got everybody. Of course, we have Den here. Matt Track and Ruben. Good to see you, dude. Hope you're recovering from our ghost hunting adventures. The legend himself, Packers. Good to see you. We're rocking and rolling. What were you saying here, Dale? I was a little kid in 1992. I was looking forward to stuff like Ninja Turtles, playing on Genesis with my brothers. First game was Street Fighter 2. Sick. That was the first game you ever played? Look at this guy. Jacques here, too. P90 is streaming, too. I was hanging out with Jacques at P90 stream. He was playing a Castlevania clone. I can't remember the name of it. It looked pretty sick. All right. We are on issue 32. Let's bring in our good pal, Den of Geek. Here he is. Welcome on in, buddy.
Morning, everybody.
Good to have you here. It's what, 7 where you are?
Yeah.
Around 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
So Willie cannot make it. Willie has personal affairs to attend to. So I mentioned that on the stream yesterday, and Den said, hey, I'll be there with my cape on. I'll be Batman to your Robin. I'm like, let's do it, buddy. So Den is here.
Yeah. And hopefully not showing how poorly the British Columbia educational system is.
Can't be worse than Ontario, buddy. It can't be worse than Ontario. It just can't. We got to start a fundraiser for Jade to get a gaming tattoo. Really? You said that on P90s. Do I not have a? I don't. I was thinking when you said that. I thought I had one, but my logo has the Triforce on the hand. Doesn't that count? Kinda. I think it kind of counts. But I don't know, man. I think I'm not done with tattoos, but I think for a while. I don't really have anything else I want to get. I can't think of anything gaming related. What would you get, Dan, if you were to get a gaming tattoo, if you don't have one already?
I do not. That's a tough one. I don't know. I would probably go with the classic Nintendo logo.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And Matt's posted that, and let's have everyone answer that. I would say it would have to be iconic symbol. I can only think of the Triforce, and I would probably put it here on my left hand. But that's really only the only thing I can think of. And I mean, I don't want it bad enough to go out and do it. I think it would be cool, but I don't know.
A buddy of mine is getting Hank Hill on a riding lawnmower tattooed on him.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Hey, whatever floats your boat, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Jay, do you have any Star Wars Power of the Force coins? I have one. It's in my my carded Endor Luke. So it's in the package. But I don't have like any loose ones. No. Zazel, how you doing, buddy? My wife and I have matching Xbox 360 controller tattoos. Do you really? I've
That
not
is
seen these.
awesome.
Where are they? Do I want to know where they are? First off, that's cool, dude. I have not. I didn't know that. Chet says the first video game I ever played was Lunar Lander on the what?
On the oscilloscope. Oh wow.
What is that? How come I? What is the oscilloscope? Do you know what that is, Dan? I have no idea what that is.
I have a vague idea. We use oscilloscopes in electronic repairs, but
Cool. That's really cool. I have to look
yeah.
up. I'll probably see it and then be like, oh, one of those guys. Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. Poop
my my
ninjas.
my very first game was Pitfall on the 2600.
Pitfall 2600. My first game was had to be Pong,
Mm,
or I'm pretty sure it was Empire Strikes Back by Activision, or it was Spider-Man by Activision.
mm.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure it was Pong in my aunt's house. Yeah. Pook Ninja, welcome back. Either Sega logo or Master Higgins from Hudson's Adventure Island. Wow, that's awesome. Very cool.
Mm.
Mine's on the right wrist. Hers is on the left one. That's cool, Zazel. Love it. Matt says the Triforce is an easy choice. If I were to get another tattoo, and maybe get Phantom Thieves logo from Persona 5. That's the only other logo besides the Triforce that sticks for me. Yeah. I mean, I was brave with the those are good for sure. I was brave enough on my logo to get Jeremy to put it on my hand, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm running out of space on the arms at least. Maybe I'll have to start doing legs and all that jazz. Who
That's
knows?
like my buddy Vinny. He is just covered in ink,
Yeah.
arms and legs already.
Definitely nothing wrong with that. I
No,
just yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I
for
want it anywhere other than my arms, but
for me, it's more of a fear of needles thing. Well, that and I black out at needles.
oh yeah, well there's no way around that. They're not for everybody for sure, yeah. And that's a
No,
complete normal fear to have, absolutely. Cutthroat says if I was going to get a tattoo, it would be a TurboGrafx 16. What, the console? That's pretty cool.
mm,
Pat Stan says, so if I understand, there's reading involved. Well, we warm up. This is what's called a warm up, buddy. We don't just jump right into it. Yeah. All my streams, I like to talk to everyone first. I know you're just joking around. But yeah, we like to talk, see what everyone's been up to. Okay, do you have yours ready? So if
I do.
everyone who wants to read along, the link is in the description. The proper link this time, it is Retro Mags. Shout out to Retro Mags for providing and archiving the history of video game magazines. They have everything on the site, every game publication. That's where we get EGM every month. We're going to pop in here. We are at issue 32, which is March of 1992. We can see our cover story here.
Can I just say how much I love this cover art? I mean, it's basic, but just perfect.
Do you know what? Claude, how you doing? Good to see you. I was going through my bins, as I've told everybody the last week, with all my EGMs, all my Nintendo Powers, and all that great stuff. And I have like near the end of EGM, which
Yeah.
is in like the 2000s, and they changed the logo to like 8-bit font, and it just says EGM. It's so awful. It's so awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, they changed their logo, and I was not a big fan of it. But that's a long ways from where we are here. We can see that we have the 1992 video game preview issue with Turtles 4, which is Turtles in Time, Alien 3. Oh my God. Like, is that movie that old? I just saw Aliens
Ooh.
1 the other day.
Yeah.
RoboCop, Equinox, Home Alone 2, Splatterhouse 2, Qbert, and much, much more.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, as Azazel says it, we got Ryu, Mikey, Sonic, classic Sega stuff here. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, let's crack this bad boy open. And this is a Manhattan Project. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We got a 2-page spread of Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project for the NES.
An
Great game.
underrated game, actually, I'd say.
Yeah, I find when a lot of people talk about the Turtles games, Dan, they don't really talk about this one.
Yeah.
This is an
They do.
original. Sorry, go ahead.
They do talk about Turtles 2, which is a great game, but Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, just as fun.
Yeah, this one is an original game. This is not ports of any arcade game. This does run off the engine of the NES conversion of the Turtles arcade game, which was incredibly well done for the time, especially being on the NES.
Mm.
Raja, got it, buddy. Got it all. Yep. You and Matt, your prizes will be going out this week. You got it. Hey, Josh, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Oh, the art's brilliant, Zazel. Absolutely. Look at this. This is old school Eastman and Laird, but they colored the bandanas. But on the cover, they're still going with the red. And a really interesting choice. Oh no, they're not. They're colored in. Sorry. But they have these like superhero, just the whites of their eyes. Really interesting choice considering this was like the Turtles cartoon was in full effect here.
Oh yeah.
But they chose to go back to the OG comic style, which I think is way better. That's me though.
I loved the OG comics. I didn't read them till years later because apparently I was too young for them.
I didn't read them either. And honestly, back then I would have looked at them and been like, ew, black and white. Like I really would have.
Yeah, same.
But I got a couple of the compendiums now, and yeah, they're the first 10 issues are just they're so awesome of that book. They're great. Yeah. Okay, here's our table of contents. We're gonna skip that. Move on to the Terminator for the Genesis. Virgin. Is Virgin a division of Sony, or am I just misremembering this? Anybody know?
I don't think they were. I think they were on their own independent company at that point.
Virgin Interactive. Anybody know in the chat? Different company, Torchy. Thank you. And welcome back, my friend. Good to see you again. And your channel member. I love it.
I know that Virgin is actually owned by Sir Richard Branson.
Yes,
in the UK. You know, that fun billionaire that nobody hears of anymore.
I know that guy. He's like, oh, today I'm going to go into space. Today I'm going to go into the bottom of the ocean. Today I'm going to just like fly around the world.
Yeah, must be nice.
He's like the millionaire that we all want to be because he seems like, I don't know him, everybody. So I'm just saying he seems like a nice dude. So
yeah,
seems like he enjoys his money.
If I had that type of money, I can tell you there would be an entire wing of video games in my house.
Yeah, imagine that if you had all the money in the world. Imagine going to like Brody's or whatever store and just being like, yeah, I'll take it. Take what? Mm-hmm. All of it. Ship it to my house, please. Thank you.
Kind of defeats the point of a video game hunt, though, if you can just go in and buy everything all at once, I think.
Not as fun. 100% agree. Jet, that's, I don't know if you guys follow Macaulay Culkin at all, but he often pops on Red Letter Media and he has his own podcast, which the name escapes me right now. But that reminds me, he talks about that because he has the Home Alone money, right? So he's pretty much been set since he was a kid. And he talks about that. Like, he's like well off. He's like, sometimes, you know, we'll get up and I'll fly my buddies and myself to Paris for the weekend or whatever. But he's still very responsible with it, you know. But I just think that's cool to be able to wake up and be like, hey, where do you want to go today? Downtown? No, man, let's go to like, I don't know. Let's go to England or something. What do you think? Yeah. Sure.
I'm craving Italian food. Let's go to Italy.
Let's go to Italy for real. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Cool, the Consumer Electronics Show impressions. So those of you who are old enough will remember the Consumer Electronics Show, which I still believe happens to this day.
It does.
Was where this was before E3 ever existed. This is where all the game developers would show off their new consoles. Game companies would show off their latest hot softs, all that kind of stuff. So
I still love that term, hot softs.
It's hilarious. I love it. Torshi says Virgin Interactive Entertainment, they mostly publish games in the UK. Okay. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. So Ed is back in the editorial chair, at least for this issue. So that's kind of cool. So let's start off here. We're back from the Consumer Electronics Show, and it was a real treat to be able to have the opportunity to play all the new cards. Oh, I hope they don't dump the term hot softs. Well, we're keeping it alive here, so doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
The opportunity to play all the new carts that the companies are working on. Well, I have been attending all the shows since video games started way back in the 1970s. Ed dropping his street cred.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's dropping his street cred. Oh, I've been around since the 70s. Each one
probably knew Jeff before he was hosting.
Yeah.
They were all drinking buddies.
Each one turns out to be a new experience. There's always a new technology, peripherals, accessories, and of course, tons of games. The show was probably the best yet. With the 16-bit wars starting to really heat up, it is interesting to sit back and see how the major players stack up against each other. Last summer, it was Sonic versus Mario and the Super Nintendo, and this time, it's quite different. Nintendo really came out swinging. Their licensees have been working long and hard trying to improve on the first generation of Super Nintendo games. It was easy to see that they have done their homework, as this generation of carts have very little slowdown and flicker. Which, again, like I said, I think last issue, I didn't mind so much, especially when it helps you in like Super Ghouls and Ghosts. But programmers are trying new things with the Mode 7, and some of the games we played are setting new standards for excellence. Turtles 4 by Konami has your player throwing the enemy out of the screen towards you. Out of This World by Interplay makes extensive use of filed polygon graphics in a story mode or storybook-like adventure. Of course, there are arcade games. No CES analysis, would be complete without mentioning the spectacular Street Fighter 2. Not only is it the world's first 16 megabyte cartridge, but this super soft is probably the best arcade to home translation ever made. It is that good.
I would agree.
Throw in other hot, soft titles like Super Battletoads, Contra 3, The Alien Wars, and Bart's Nightmare, and we can say now that the system is really starting to evolve into the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. If that impressive lineup of software wasn't enough to dominate the show, Nintendo quietly dropped the bomb on the competition by announcing the specs of their new CD-ROM peripheral. Interesting. So great to hear about that, considering that never came out for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Cool.
But things that might have been, right?
Well, exactly. We got the birth of the PlayStation because of it, and we got the CDI Zelda games. There you go. Specs can be deceiving, but with 8 meg of memory, full motion video capability, and co-processor, it sounds impressive. The best part, Nintendo says it will only cost $200. Interesting.
That was still a fair amount of money back then.
Jesse, what's up? JLS, good to see you.
Hey, guys.
DJ VR, welcome on in. All right, I'm going to tag you.
Okay.
So the best part, Nintendo says it will only cost $200.
Yeah. All right. NEC/Turbo Technologies wasn't on the floor, but they had a very impressive display of titles, which they plan to bring over from Japan as soon as they get up and running, April 1st, 1992. They also confirmed that they will make a U.S. equivalent to the PC Engine Duo, in addition to releasing a new Super System card that will to play the new Super Discs. Behind closed doors, they were showing their not-too-secret 32-bit machine. Sega, historically...
I just said,
Yeah, 32 bits back in 92. Man, I would have killed for that.
Yeah.
Sega, historically, never has a lot to show at the January event. Such was the case this year. The Mega CD was behind closed doors, and the cartridge games were basically updates of some of the older sports games. Holyfield has his game on a new boxing cart. The baseball game has a non-stop voice, like their Joe Montana football, and there's a new D&D RPG. Oh, I'm in for that. No Sonic 2, no Batman 2, no Phantasy Star 4, and no mention of new things to come. The Neo Geo booth was buzzing with activity as SNK had a few spectacular carts to show. Last Resort, Fatal Fury, and Andro Dunos had constant lines of people waiting to play these games. This is going to be one hot system this year. Overall, the show belonged to Nintendo. They had the carts, the technology, and the wherewithal to open the R&D doors a crack to show everybody what was coming out in the future. If they say they will sell 6 million units this year, they just might do it. With a lineup as good as we saw, and this is only the first 6 months of 1993. I can't wait to see what they'll have in June.
Yeah, lots of good stuff here. So, Cutthroat, you like the Turbo news? Yeah.
Yeah. Neo Geo, I remember, was very pricey. I remember playing that at Microplay because you go in, you drop a few bucks, and they actually let you play it.
They let you play it. Yeah. It was fun. I mean, we got to take, when I worked there, we got to take the systems home to try them. And play with them and stuff like that. So that's still one of the best jobs I ever had, for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on, Terminator 2. I just want to throw up Matt. He did some work here. Wikipedia states that Virgin Interactive was its own thing from 83 to 93, partnered with Hasbro in 93 and 94, then continued on after. Thanks for looking that up, buddy.
And he also wonders if Jeff introduced Ed to Randy's mom. I love the ongoing Randy's mom jokes.
They met on that faithful sound stage that day. Letters to the editor. It's looking a little cleaner. Maybe because the page is like crisp white and not that weird yellow.
Yeah, that weird yellow. It reminded me of like newspaper that's been in the sun for too long.
Yeah. So we're going to start at Mega CD, which is, of course, here, the Sega CD questions. From Scott. Scott Peters says, I can't wait after reading your great Mega CD article in the February issue. I can't wait until July. I am happy that I didn't go out and buy the Japanese system. Imagine those players who popped $500 for a worthless system. Thank you for printing the full story on the CD-ROM compatibility situation, says Scott Peters from San Jose, California. Japanese Mega CD will not play the US discs. And this is a theme that we've seen, I think, up until the PS4?
Yeah.
Where they finally dropped the regional coding?
Yeah. Back then, part of it was also just like different transmission protocols like NTSC and PAL.
Well, and from a business perspective too, in the Western market, you want to get the most sales you can, right? And if people are importing and buying Japanese game systems and not waiting, it's going to.
I actually modded my PS1, or actually, I bought a modded PS1 on top of my North American one, just so I could import some of the Japanese games, even though I had no idea what they were saying.
Yeah, I had a Japanese Nintendo 64, and I had a Japanese Saturn. Those were the two I got. A Japanese Saturn, like, talk about, like, maybe the worst choice ever. Like, why that one? Yeah. I don't know. I can't even answer why I did that one. 64, I had a good couple of months before it came here.
Yeah.
So Rob and I had
access to the exclusives early, huh?
We had Mario 64 and Pilot Wings. And I say Rob and I because he lived 2 doors down from me, right? So we were playing that every day. The innocence of these letters, yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay, next one up will be me.
Oh, I think there's a No, there's still more. This is an ongoing. So see all this here. Oh, you want to
Yeah.
do the next Sega CD one? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do the next Sega
Yeah, go
CD
for it.
letter. Okay, this one comes from Jim Carlton in Houston, Texas. Houston.
You say
Houston.
Houston?
No, it's a running joke in my family. We just call it Houston
I got you.
because my cousin had problems pronouncing it when she was a kid.
Ah,
I am seriously considering on purchasing the Mega CD when it comes out in June, and for that reason, I've been following your monthly articles on this peripheral. Your February story was the one which really sold me. You told me absolutely everything about the system and went into a lot of details the competition didn't. I must admit, I get all the magazines. It was good that you were finally able to clear up the compatibility question. Now, what about the US software? Ooh.
I mean, I remember this being a concern, and I remember specifically when I had my Genesis that it was like through the pages of EGM and GamePro and stuff. We would see stuff like Wrestle War is a good example that never came here. It had like a bootleg Hulk Hogan on the cover and stuff like that, but it just stayed in Japan. And
Yeah,
there's a lot of games that never came here. I remember always hearing the rumors on how you would, break the little tabs to be able to play them and so on and so forth. So I do understand why this is such a concern for people because we weren't getting all the games here.
no.
So,
It'd be
okay.
kind of fun if you and Willie tried to do an import game hunt.
Oh, geez. We would have to go to, I think, Toronto for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stores, the couple that we've been to so far, there's been a few Japanese games, but not a wide selection.
They're very difficult to find outside of Japan.
Yeah. Scott Winston from Regu Park, New York says, "That's with the metal plate you show." What? Oh, sorry. What's with the metal plate that you show connected to the Sega CD? Does it serve any special purpose? There was a cable you mentioned that goes into the back of the Mega CD. What does that do? Are you sure the Japanese Mega CD won't play US discs? Are you sure? Like, are you really sure, though? I'm going to write this letter with a pen and paper, okay? And I'm going to send it into you, EGM, and you'll get it in 2 to 3 months. Hopefully, you'll read it, and you might publish it in 2 more months. So I've been wondering this for 5 months. Are you sure? The other magazine article didn't say that. It says Scott Winston.
Yeah. Torch. Yeah. The innocence about region law.
Yeah, exactly. So I believe it's Ed is responding to these.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of mystery. There has been, a lot of mystery about the Mega CD since it debuted last June. And that is why Ed spent months digging for all the facts. System compatibility was a major issue, especially when almost $500 US mail order price was involved. We double-checked the compatibility situation and even got a quote from a spokesperson from Sega. And I was just going to say that. I'm like, with how big EGM is now, you think that like Steve would just call Sega and say, hey, can I talk to, someone from this Sega CD department so we're not misprinting facts, so we know exactly what this thing can do.
And I'm sure Ed's drinking buddies with a few of the R&D people who he can, after a couple whiskeys can probably get them to give up the details.
We gotta watch the footage I found of Ed and Martin in Japan.
Oh,
it's so good.
That would be awesome.
It's so good. I keep forgetting. Maybe that'll be next week. We do our best to get you the most information as soon as it is available with our sources worldwide. We can get info very quickly. We try to be thorough and we go to great extremes to get you the best data. Comparing magazines is like comparing apples and oranges. Each has its own style. We consider the Mega CD and now the Nintendo CD a very important product, and we will devote whatever time, effort, and space is needed to get you the full story. That is why you will see details in EGM that you won't see elsewhere. The metal plate is used as a spacer and to properly align the Genesis with the connecting post of the Mega CD. Technicians tell us that it also serves as an auxiliary heat sink, and the vents on the Genesis are blocked by the Mega CD case. Oh, there you go. So that's why if you don't have that metal part in the first Sega CD, which usually is missing, you can't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't play.
Yeah.
As for prolonged use, the Genesis, as after prolonged use, the Genesis and Mega CD get really warm. The cable mentioned sends the stereo audio from the Genesis to the mixing input of the Mega CD. The mixer combines the audio from the Genesis with the audio from the Mega CD. Only one set of cables is needed to send the audio out for the stereo. Woo! Jeez.
All right. Ed showing a little tech knowledge there.
Absolutely.
Mega CD before it was called Sega CD. I think.
Where are you?
I'm reading our chat.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Dale asked, was it Mega CD before it was called Sega CD?
No, in Japan it's called the Mega CD.
Yeah.
Just like in Japan, the Genesis is called the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
That's why I kept calling it Sega CD, just in case people didn't know. You would think that they would be in direct contact with Sega of America, Nintendo of America.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure that, as soon as they said, yeah, we're with EGM and we have some tech questions, it's like, okay, we'll put you right over to the PR department.
I mean, if you guys think this is confusing, you remember 94 when the 32X came out.
Oh, yeah.
Every separate piece, the Sega CD, the Genesis, and the 32X, they each needed an AC adapter, which were the big bulky ones. They weren't just like normal plugs, right?
Yeah.
So you needed that. And then there was so many cords, it looked like the back of a Borg head. Like,
yeah.
That's what it looked like. It's like, what do you do? And if you didn't have one thing connected properly, you would get like the background graphics, but not the foreground.
Yeah, I remember that.
You'd have missing layers and stuff like that. I mean, we're not there yet, but
we're getting there.
You can kind of see, and I appreciate what Sega was doing, making an affordable version of a next generation console or add-on. I appreciate it, but you can really see how at least parents were getting really, really confused. Imagine trying to hook up the 32X with the Sega CD and the Sega Genesis. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's crazy. P90, what's up, legend? How you doing, buddy?
P90. I caught part of his stream earlier. Very game he played looked very fun. Getting back to a gaming memory, I remember in 1994, the local consumers distributing shop held a tournament for Sonic. I forget which Sonic it was, but the winner got a 32X.
Oh,
and it was cool. Whoever could get the most rings in a certain amount of time. And my buddy Rob actually won it.
That's cool. That sounds like a really simple contest. Like kind of the first part of Nintendo World Championships, right? It's just get 20 coins as quick as you can.
Yeah. And
that sounds cool.
And all the participants got a Sonic the Hedgehog watch, which I still have to this day.
Oh, that's wicked.
The battery's long dead.
We are moving to Super Nintendo controllers. This is okay. So, what is the name of this company? ASCII.
ASCII. Yeah.
Yeah. This is that one that we saw, I think, in an advertisement a couple issues ago, and it's just absolutely
the cheater controller.
It's just terrible looking.
It is. SNES controllers. From Joshua Park in Gretna, LA. Ooh, we in Louisiana, down on the bayou.
I was gonna say I couldn't figure out. Okay, what's LA? Okay, got it.
Yeah. For a moment there, my brain goes, "Wait, when did LA become its own? When did Los Angeles become its own state?"
When Snake Plissken landed there, damn it.
Yeah. Okay, as good as the standard controllers are for the Super Nintendo, I would like to know if there any others coming out that may be better. Having an auto fire would be nice, as would be a slow motion switch. Have you heard of anything new? The ASCII pad has auto fire for all 6 buttons and slow motion. Ed, as the Super Nintendo grows in popularity, companies will start releasing new products. Since there are over 1 million systems in homes now, you can expect to see a flood of new accessories coming out this year. One controller which we can recommend is the ASCII pad. It has adjustable auto fire controls for all 6 buttons and a switch for slow motion effects. Oh, and they even have a picture of the Mega CD display at Winter CES at the EGM booth.
Yeah, see, I'm just not a fan of third-party controllers. This one just doesn't do it for me, but
yeah, I mean, I grew up, like, I remember, like, all the Mad Catz knockoffs.
Yeah, but yeah, like Jet says, that's a good controller. So it's just, it's all opinion based, right?
Yeah.
I just learned through my time at EB. I mean, that was way after all this stuff. I mean, even going back to when I worked at Microplay in the 90s, like we would get third-party controllers for sale. And the third-party controllers were always kind of like for your buddy who would come over on the weekends. He got to use that one because you knew it wasn't going to last as long and it was cheaper for your parents to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly. So that was it's like, no, the brand name one is mine.
Exactly. The Turbo Graphics Duo. Here we go. The Turbo Duo.
Oh, from Toronto.
I would like to ask a question in regards to NEC America. I own the Turbo Graphics 16, the CD-ROM, the PC Engine adapter board, and the version 3.0 Super System card. With discovering the world of the PC Engine and the wide variety of games and CDs, I wonder why NEC never brought over such titles as Far East of Eden and the complete R-Type. Well, the R-Type one was, I think, part one. Anyway, there seems to be a much wider and better selection of Japanese games. When I saw the selection, I couldn't believe it. Since you are the guys who can find out anything, what is the story? Says Mark from Toronto.
Woo.
Right next door, baby. Right next door.
Mark's probably running one of the best import gaming shops in Toronto now.
He probably is. Let's hear it from Mark from Toronto, Canada. The US version pictured below of the PC Engine Duo will be out in this fall. Sorry, that is the US version. That's known as the Turbo Duo. The last gasp for NEC. This was it. This was the combination of the TurboGrafx CD and the Hue cards into one. Now, let me just throw this out there to the chat, okay? I don't understand. I'm not in marketing, but I'm just saying, like, if your system is not selling well because you have lack of software, wouldn't you take all the funds that you have remaining and put that into getting some third-party support?
Yeah.
Instead of, remodeling your system again, which would cost so much money.
Yeah.
To re-release it. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't get it. So Ed says, there's good news, Mark. NEC has joined forces with Hudson to form a company called Turbo Technologies. This new company plans to draw more heavily from the Japanese market, and the sequel you requested, Far East of Eden 2, will be translated and brought out for the new US version of the PC Engine Duo. Other great carts and CDs are also on the way to the US. You will definitely want to check out our special 32-page bonus CES mag packaged along inside this issue. There you go, Cutthroat. We're going to get a turbo insert.
Woo-hoo.
For more of a thorough listing. This new company will begin operations on April 1st, 1992, and the game should be starting to appear this summer. Your setup is quite innovative, and for others who want to have something similar, Turbo Technologies has announced that a US version of the Super System card, version 3, will come out very soon. This will allow the TurboGrafx to play the new Super System discs. The US version of the PC Engine Dual is scheduled out in the fall.
I feel like whenever they say April 1st, 1992, that this is the setup of a horrible, horrible April Fool's Day game.
We will find out next month because
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 is out, and I believe the first joke was how to get to Shenlong, the character
yeah.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Good morning, Speaking Moistly. How you doing?
Hey, speaking mostly.
Let's get to some chat here. I think the gamers would come with the best consoles of games. I think the gamers would come with the best console. I don't know what you mean, buddy. I don't know what you mean there. I think the PC Engine design could have been made in America.
Not back in the day.
Not back in the day, only because the last thing anyone wanted, especially parents, was a video game system, right? So that's why they marketed the Nintendo as a toy. That's why they had Mattel on board.
And also with the amount of upgrades that, the PC Engine stuff went through, having to buy a new cart every so often.
Yeah, it's an upgrade. I'm just saying, like, and I know we talk about the Turbo a lot, but like they took an extra year because of the way the video games crashed in North America, and they did not crash in Japan.
No,
the crash was only in the Western world. Okay, so because of everything that happened, the last thing any Western developers wanted was something to look like a video game system. So if you look at what the PC Engine looks like, it's small and white. It's got red writing on it. It looks like a toy. So they took a whole year to redesign it so it looked like a piece of stereo equipment, looked sleek, and the Western world would like it. That's the TurboGrafx. That year, it killed them because they were a year behind already. And on top of that, all the money that they put into the redesign. I don't know. I mean, I understand why they did it at the time, right? Hindsight and all that stuff, but still.
Yeah. It's still one of my favorite consoles.
Oh, it's amazing.
It had some amazing games and everything. Like I said, my friend still has his. We still break it out every so often for a retro night, and we have lots of fun with it.
It's one of those systems where I think the library just appreciates, and I don't mean like dollar-wise, although it does, but it appreciates just in the quality of the games. And I don't know how this is, but it just seems like over the years, when I play Bonks or when I play Bloody Wolf or if I play Splatterhouse, the games, they're better, and they're better than I played them before, which maybe that's just a nostalgic, foolish thing to say, or maybe that's just rose-tinted glasses. I don't know, but I
understand that. Okay, so we'll go to the SNES Street Fighter 2 ones. I can only imagine, like, EGM at its peak, how many letters they must have got each month.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. That would be a fun job to go through all the letters. I think that'd be pretty cool.
And figure out which ones were worthy, or page worthy. Okay. You said that Street Fighter 2 will be coming out for the Super Nintendo. Since it's my favorite arcade game, I am very interested. I would like to know if it will look as good as the arcade version. Will you be able to pick from all 8 different warriors? And will you get to use all of the special moves for each fighter? By the way, your Street Fighter 2 section really helps me kick butt now. Now I know why you're the #1 magazine for detailed arcade coverage. Andrew Simmons, Our Angels Ridge, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean the last 2 issues they had breakdowns of all the characters, and you can really see they've always had a passion for these games, but one reason I think EGM was always my favorite because they did stuff like that. They would take a game and deconstruct it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had the points to what a jab, a medium, and a fierce punch would give you when no one cares about points in Street Fighter. They broke all that stuff down, man. Like everything.
That was serious back then. And apparently to get on the page, it helps if you kind of suck up to Ed a bit.
Shenlong came out later on, but it was a long time after dealing with the April Fool's issue. I don't remember Shenlong ever appearing. Where did he appear? I'm not saying that's not real. I don't remember that character ever existed. But I'm not beyond Street Fighter 2. I'm no expert for sure. Street Fighter 2, the first fighting game I ever played. I still can't finish the game. You can't beat Bison. Come on, man. You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. Although he does cheap shot a bit.
Yeah. And he doesn't need to charge. He does his cone. Like he doesn't have to charge. But anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking Moisey says Turbo Gramix 16,
Turbo
baby.
Gramix.
Okay, so we got Michael Thompson from Dallas, Texas says, I am a video game freak, and I love your magazine. I have 2 questions for you. The first one, in Final Fight, whatever happened to the third character besides Cody and Hagar? That's Guy, actually. I mean, from the arcade version. Why did Capcom take him out of the Super Nintendo version? The second one, can you give us an update on Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo? Well, we sure can. This is the arcade version of Street Fighter 2. Hundreds of letters each week are pouring in about Street Fighter 2. It is good to hear that players are going out and using the information that we published in our special Street Fighter 2 guide. For more updated information on how the Super Nintendo version compares to the arcade game, don't miss our special fact file on page 84, where we run the exact same move on both versions. See what I'm talking about, Dan? How cool is that?
Yeah.
Like the same special move, like Guile Sonic Boom, they do it on the arcade, then they do it on the Super Nintendo. That's amazing, dude. Nobody did this stuff.
No. Because, they didn't think it was that important, I guess, in a lot of cases. And EGM actually, it's like, no, we're going to break this down. We're going to compare them, frame by frame type thing.
For more updated information on how the Super Nintendo version is compared to the arcade game, don't miss our blah, blah, blah. We want to say the way you can see how good the 16 meg wonder really is. Again, this is the detail that you want. You only get it in EGM. And I cannot pronounce that name, so I apologize. Jiviaran, thank you for the sub. I'm the worst reader you will ever meet, so much apologies. Thank you. Even though the version we got to play with was an early alpha version, all the characters were programmed into the game, and you will be able to do all the special moves. A special controller is seriously being considered by Capcom, however. We had no problem using the 6 button on a standard NES pad.
Always good to hear.
Here you go.
Yeah. All right. 16-bit wars. The console wars have begun.
Oh, it's getting good. It's getting good, buddy.
Well, the war of the 16 bits between the Turbo, Genesis, and SNES and the SNES has begun. I would like to know who had the most sales over the Christmas season. Also, is it true that Aliens 3 will be coming out for the Genesis? And will Acclaim, Sunsoft, and Data East be making games for the Genesis? Pablo Ayala, Acapulco, Mexico. Ooh, we're going international again. And, this was a valid question back when when the Genesis first came out. We weren't sure what companies were going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo couldn't put a stranglehold on what companies, but again, what they could do was ensure that the same game wasn't put on both.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Marcus, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
Good morning
Marcus.
to you. Amazing Sunday. Shout out from Marcus. Good to see you, and thanks for joining us. Appreciate that.
And Cutthroat. Turbo Gramix had the most sales for Christmas. All right.
Wrong.
Wrong. Ed, actual sales numbers for the game systems are nearly impossible to obtain. Well, each company published their own numbers, verifying them is not possible. For example, Nintendo still has stated that they sold 2.1 million Super Nintendos in 4 months, and that they are in first place. Sega states that they sold their inventory and that their installed base is nearly 3 million systems. They say they're in first place. Who really is the leader? Probably Sega, but that can't be confirmed. Nintendo says they will sell 6 million SNESs this year. And as you can see from the photo, Alien 3 does exist and will be coming out soon from Arena, just recently purchased by Acclaim. Acclaim under the name Flying Edge. Data East and Sunsoft will be bringing out Genesis carts this year. Yeah, this was when the console wars were really starting.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I would say it started with the NES, the Turbo, and the Genesis.
Yeah,
I mean, the NES was still holding its own against 16-bit consoles. Like that's just the power of Nintendo, right?
And it was almost impossible to verify this stuff. It's still pretty tough to verify this stuff. Like, what are you going to do? Go to all the online retailers, say, "Hey, how many systems did you guys sell?"
Yeah, there's no way to. You can't keep track of that stuff. Dale says, play Super Street Fighter Turbo in the arcade edition. You'll be able to fight Akuma instead of Bison. Right, but you were saying Shenlong was actually playable at some point. You're probably right. He might have been in Street Fighter 3 or 4 or something. I don't remember where he came in.
Yeah.
Torchy says, we're going to sell 1 million more units than you. Nuh-uh, we're going to sell 2 million more units than you. Yeah, it's like kids on the playground, right? I got more toys. No, I do. I do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And this was basically the start of the console wars, was each console taunting the other guy.
Beautiful Mega Man 4 artwork. Beautiful advertisement. Capcom always had just the pure white, and then they have their Capcom logo in the purple box. I just love, I would frame this, man.
Yeah, that is very clean. That is, I would say, almost Super Mario Bros. 3.
Bill, how you doing? Good morning. I'm guessing you're thinking of Big Time Gamers in Pickering, Ontario. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's probably what you're thinking of. Yeah, and I agree. Dawn's store is friggin' crazy, man. It's like you're walking into a Toys R Us in the 90s because everything is boxed. It's insane.
I would love to go to a retro game store, but there's only one, there's a couple, but they're like 4-hour drive one way.
Yeah, my dad's a cop. Oh, really, Josh? Well, my dad is a Nintendo. He owns Nintendo, so there you go. Password problems. Let me just skim this one. Is this one worth reading? I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Are you up or am I up? I can't remember.
I just did the last one, so I think it's
password problems. Okay. I am writing to register a complaint about 2 third-party games issued for the Sega Genesis. King's Bounty by Electronic Arts and Battle Master by Arena. Both of these games have the same fatal defect. Long passwords are given to the player, and an illegible type font. The font additionally does not resemble the type of font that the player uses to enter the passwords in attempt to re-enter the game. In the case of King's Bounty, there are about 7 or 8 characters in the former type of font, which can be confused with others. If I remember correctly, Metal Gear for NES had this problem too. If I remember.
That was part of the fun, trying to figure out the password that you wrote down if it was right.
Yeah, it's a 0 or an O or whatever. Metal Gear, I probably wrote them down wrong, but I always had a problem with Metal Gear. But the real killer is the lack of resemblance between these fonts and the other ones used for entering the password. There could be no learning curve if one always enters an invalid password and has no idea or means of finding out what he did wrong. It is also highly insulting to the player that the fonts for entering the passwords in both games are highly legible, implying that they could have made others if they had bothered.
Mm.
I mean, I guess you gotta vent, right? And when you gotta vent,
Yeah.
you gotta vent. But this has nothing to do with the EGM.
No. I mean, yeah, sure. It's a complaint about a game, a couple games, but, not exactly something EGM is responsible for.
I mean, passwords are just a cheap way of doing it instead of adding a battery backup, right? Back in the day, that's all it was. You're right, William. Not only are the passwords unbelievably long, but they are very difficult to read. While long passwords many times can't be avoided because there are so many different variables in the game, the font is easily controllable. In this case, we agree that these companies could have picked a more legible font. Hopefully, by reading this, they will pay more attention to it in the future. But until then, I'm sorry, William, but you're screwed.
Yeah. And of course, this was back in the day where we didn't get online patches for games.
Good to see you, Crow. Welcome on in, my
Hey,
friends.
Crow.
Mo, you are awake. Wonderful. Good to see you, dude.
Almost awake.
Speaking Moisey says, my dad was a bank manager, so guessing my dad was not that tough. Oh, yeah? Well, my dad was the president of Hasbro. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Well, being a bank manager, he just approved all the loans and stuff for NEC and all that.
Torshi says you could have just bought a disposable Kodak camera. Dude, there was no disposable Kodak cameras in 1992. Come on. Was there? No.
I think there
way.
was, but they were expensive.
What? I don't know if there was. I don't know about that.
All right. So, Turtles 4? Question mark. Let me start by complimenting you on your increasingly better coverage of the Super NES. When it premiered, you dumped on it, but now you seem to have taken a heavier liking to it. Well, I just bought the January 92 issue, and I was blown away by the sterling coverage of everything. Being a fan of the Ninja Turtle games, I loved your in-depth review of Turtles 3. No other magazine came close to such a cool preview of what looks to be a hot game. All right, you got a hot soft.
Huh.
I can't wait to get it. Now, with Turtles 3 done, what do you have to say on Turtles 4? Is it really coming out for the Super NES? Will it be unveiled at the electronics show? If so, please show pictures. Anything you could tell the readers about Turtles 4 would be great, especially if it's a two-player game. Turtles 4 on the Super Nintendo is the best version yet.
Wrong.
You want it, you got it. Yes, it was at the CES, and we couldn't tear ourselves away from it. You bet it's a two-player game, and there's no sign of flicker when the action gets intense. New moves, great graphics, super sound, cute animations, and even a new use for the scaling function. In this, if you can do the right move, your player can grab an enemy and throw him right off the screen. Not to the left or the right, but he comes towards you, out of the screen. Boy, sure that caused some insurance problems. It's a new idea and very well done. For the largest and best coverage of this cart, check out our super 2-page preview fact file on pages 82 and 83 in this issue. All of your questions will be answered there.
Okay, I just put a poll up. What is better, the original Turtles arcade game or Turtles 4, which was Turtles in Time, which was on Super, but it was an arcade game first? Just curious what you guys think.
Yeah.
Okay, so Torchy says there was a single-use Kodak cameras. I remember they were selling those a lot at Nature Park where I lived back then for tourists. Really? Okay, mate. Well, you taught me something. I didn't know. I remember those. I remember, dude, like in like 96 and 97, we would have those yellow ones. Remember, they're like cardboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'd take those to like concerts and stuff like that. but I don't remember way back then. That's interesting, though. Appreciate that.
I
Indo Nerd, what's
remember,
going on?
hey, Indo Nerd. I remember seeing those types of cameras a lot at weddings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everybody had like one or two on a table.
Can you imagine being a film developer in the 90s? Some of the stuff that you would have seen.
Oh, man.
Indo Nerd says, I love these old Electronic Gaming Monthly issues, and these reads are money.
And take you back.
Appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Will and I just started doing this for fun over a year ago, and now it's like one of my favorite streams of the week.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to get to Sunday.
Oh, it's always great and it's a great way to, wind down your streaming week.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a very chill and hanging out and everything.
Jacques says Turtles in Time is a difficult game. I agree. And the Hyperstone Heist is also, which is a slightly different version than that one, but it's more or less the same. Yeah. Okay. Super Battletoads. What's the story about Super Battletoads by Trade West? Trade West published it, Rare made it. Quarterman talked about it issues ago, and you haven't shown anything yet. I thought you were the guys who always got the pictures first. Don't let me down, says Gabe Pona from Hamilton, Ontario.
Woo, Hammertown.
The Hammer. We got a Toronto letter and a Hamilton letter. Let's go.
In one issue, talk about being spoiled.
So Gabe, and then the response is, as part of our editorial policy, we always try to get photos to back up anything we talk about in the magazine. Getting a picture of Super Battletoads was difficult, but we finally got to see the game at the Consumer Electronics Show. Even though only one level was finished, it looked hot. There are new super moves and, of course, the two-player cooperative game, if you so desire. Since we had our cameras, we made sure we got tons of pictures of this surefire hit. Check out our special preview fact file. Lots of screens on page 88.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Battletoads is a special level of Hell Ride.
I can say that I really only played the NES one, and I played Battletoads and Double Dragon. Like I rented it back in the day. It didn't really do much for me. I didn't find the Battletoads themselves very interesting, but all those animal characters like sewer sharks and like all that's
street sharks and
biker mice. I thought they were all just rip off of turtles anyway, so I wasn't really into any of that stuff.
Yeah, by that time I was kind of edging out of the cartoon demographic.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't enjoy it. I remember renting Battletoads with my friends a few times and just like getting decimated in that.
If you guys are enjoying the stream, please consider supporting it in some way. If you are having a good time, let me know for sure.
Yeah.
We're continuing on here. This has been a really great issue. I can notice, Den, the pictures are getting clearer.
Oh, yes.
The pictures are getting much clearer. And they're starting to expand two of my favorites, which are, well, we haven't got to reviews yet, but over the last few issues, the reviews they're reviewing more, and there's more letters to the editor, and those are by far my favorite.
Oh, yeah. The letters to the editor are always fun.
Okay, you're up.
Okay. Where is Solstice 2? Several issues ago, you talked about a sequel to the popular Solstice game. I believe you had it in your international section. The rotating screen trick looked different. Can you follow up on this? Paul Kravitz, Fortuna, California. And we are pleased to report that the sequel to Solstice is definitely scheduled for release here in the U.S. We just got a partial copy of the game, and it is everything that you say. The rotation of the screen to follow your moves is revolutionary. Check out our exclusive coverage of Equinox on page 94.
And I wonder where these partial build carts go.
Oh, they would be awesome to find.
They must contractually, they must be obligated to send them back to the developer.
or destroy them, which is
Yeah.
sacrilege.
Because you don't see any of the like the partial build of Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo, like the alpha
No,
part. Like, where's that?
oh, that would be worth a fortune today.
You gotta be kidding me. Adventure Island for Turbo. Oh my god, you can't write that. For anyone who has not watched our latest game hunt video, please check it out, where Will and I return to Brody's games. And we come face to face once again with New Adventure Island for the TurboGrafx, which is a grail on that system. So don't forget to check it out. So here we are.
That was a cool video, by the way. I know I haven't mentioned it, but that was an awesome video.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. Well, the best way you guys can let me know is to comment on the actual video.
Yeah.
You guys, I love that you comment on the social media part, but it helps the YouTube algorithm if you comment on the actual video.
I always try to comment on the video. I've actually watched it about 3 times, just going through and kind of going, ooh, that looks kind of cool.
Well, I'm glad you like it, dude. Yeah, that was, I would say, my favorite. I think it was Will and I talk to each other a lot more, so you kind of know what we're thinking, and yeah, I liked it. Okay. So we're going to read. You can pick whoever you want, Den.
Well, last time I went with Sushi X, so I'll go with Sushi X again and go with the hipster take.
Okay, so Ed and Martin. Well, we never read Martin, but Ed gets the week off, and I will continue with Steve. So Steve, having come back from the CES with tons of new carts, the boss is knee deep in great softs. He says Turtles 4 is hot. There you go. All right, what's Sushi saying this month?
Sushi X pitched his tent in the Capcom booth.
Whoa.
Whoa. I thought this was a family-friendly Meg, dude.
Okay, all right.
And completely dominated the Street Fighter 2 SNES game.
I think pitched your tent back then meant something very different than what we think of it now.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it still meant the same thing. You know, I can remember my friends and I talking stuff like that.
I read Martin as some Southerner who likes wrestling. Martin has, like, at least from the videos I've seen of him and Ed going to Japan, he's got like a sweet mullet. And Ed is a very straight-edged looking older gentleman who is like very, very serious. Very serious.
He looks like the old school journalist from what I've seen.
He does, yeah. He looks like that, yeah. But maybe we'll do that next week as like maybe we'll read one of the buyer's guides, kind of skim through that, and then we'll play some of that because it's like an over 2-hour video. So I mean that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Just to kind of get the idea of what they do and how they take pictures back then.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome, man. It's so cool to see.
I honestly did want to be a game reviewer back then. I would have killed to work for either GamePro or EGM.
No doubt. That was the dream. Cutthroat, thank you for the comments on the videos, dude. I appreciate that. Okay, so New Adventure Island, as it's called, for the Turbo. Oh, wait, this is the Super Nintendo one. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
I screwed up. Anyway, we're reviewing Super Adventure Island for the Super Nintendo. And Steve gives it a 7. I like what Hudson has done to revamp many of the original concepts of the Adventure Island series to get this title up to 16-bit speed. While there are some problems in the execution of the title, and many of the most important features remain 16-bit enhancements of the 8-bit title, there is enough to warrant a purchase. 7. 7's pretty good.
7's a solid above average score.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Wow, and Sushi X liked it even more. That's rare.
Yeah, he hated a lot of stuff last time. Yeah.
He hated. Well, I think that's kind of Sushi's jam. He just hates it. He hates stuff that everybody else loves. Super Adventure Island is a great Super NES title. The graphics are superbly drawn and accompanied by a smashing soundtrack by the same mastermind who composed the Streets of Rage music. For
Oh,
great, that's little, all right. Dishing out a little known fact there. That's kind of cool. For great side-scrolling adventure, here is a game to play. If the controls were better, it would be a 9. All right, I can respect Sushi for that.
and where's Bill's comment I just saw? Every time I watch this stream, I want to binge an hour and a half of Genesis. Bill, you should go onto my channel and check out the game hunting videos because
You will love those
it'll make you want to go out and hunt some retro games.
and spend money.
Joe and Mac for the Super Nintendo by Data East 7 again.
I remember this game.
Joe and Mac was great. It was a great little platformer back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Steve gives it a 7. I really enjoyed the visual appearance of this game, although the overall concept has been somewhat overdone. The new look and feel of Joe and Mac that Joe and Mac possesses makes it stand apart from the crowd. There are many shortcomings to the play, but if you're an action fan who enjoys good looks, then this one is a winner. 7.
Yeah, I remember playing Joe and Mac. It was a good game. Well, they had a few.
It's not bad. Good morning, Curb Stomp. How you doing, buddy?
Hey,
Happy
Curb
weekend?
Stomp. All right. So, Sushi. I'm sad to say that Joe and Mac is not nearly as fun as I thought it would be. There's the Sushi we all know and hate.
There you go.
While the graphics are fun to look at, the control is not the best I've seen on the Super NES, and leaves a bit to be desired. The sound is excellent, of course, but without the gameplay, even a 16-bit cart is average. 6.
Well, that's above average, Sushi, but that's okay. We'll
Yeah.
let that one go.
And he seems to focus quite a bit on the control aspect. Oh,
Well,
wow,
I mean, in a
like
platformer, if you have bad controls, like JJ and Jeff is a prime example of
Oh,
terrible graphics. Like that game looks great, but it plays like Aunt Connie. You know, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Zelda 3. Oh my God, Steve. What are you talking about? Oh,
Wow.
I can't do it, man. Like what? Zelda 3, The Adventure of Link for the Super Nintendo by Nintendo. Steve gives it an 8.
Ooh.
The game lives up to all the expectations one could have in a Super NES sequel. Like Super Mario World, however, Zelda 3 may disappoint some who expect radical changes in the overall gameplay mechanics. No such luck here. But for a solid adventure title filled with lots to do, you can't do much better than Zelda 3. What are you talking about, 8?
Wow. All right. And wow, Sushi showing love this week. Zelda 3, A Link to the Past, is a brilliant masterpiece from Nintendo. This game surpasses the first in every respect, right down to the last detail. While the game gives out far too many clues to completing the quest along the way, the game is awe-inspiring. I can hardly wait for the next chapter in this epic. 9. Yeah.
I think they all should have given it a 9. Give me a break. Anyway, moving on. You getting ready for work, buddy? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll entertain you while we can. What game console looks like Randy's mom? I would say she's pretty slick looking, so I would say the Jaguar CD.
Ooh.
There you go.
Nice deep cut there.
The Super NES Addams Family by Ocean. 5. Guys, I hate the Addams Family. I've already told you this. There's nothing good. They suck. It's boring and it's lame. Every version, I don't care what anyone says. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Addams Family sucks.
I like the show and the movies. Raul Julia are just perfect as Gomez.
It's just weird. It's dumb. Like, do we need two scary families? We have the Munsters and we have the Adams Family. Who gives a lips about any of them?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're gonna have Freddie and Jason living in a house together, I'm good. I'm just
That'd
saying.
be a reality show I'd love.
5 from Steve. Sure, it's a great license, but how does this game shape up? It's basically your side-scrolling action entry with a theme that ties into the Addams Family characters. Unfortunately, the action introduced very little that could be deemed new or original. If you liked the movie, you may find this title worthwhile, but I didn't.
Ooh. Sounds like Steve kind of shares your opinion of the Adams Family there, Jay.
I've played this. The graphics are great. I like how
Yeah.
they turn them into bobbleheads, very similar to the way Sega drew the Ghostbusters for Genesis.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool that way.
Yeah.
But okay. So Jacques says it's all right. Indo Nerd says the Addams Family started when Uncle Fester farted. It's good.
That's a good one.
I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, you guys know you can say what you want here for opinion wise. We all respect each other's opinions.
Yeah.
I just never been into it or the Munsters. But then again, as much as I do like horror, my friends, I don't like the old timey like Universal monsters and all that stuff too, which I know is very unpopular. But hey, that's me. There you go. I don't know.
We all have our things that we like, we dislike. Hey, you know.
Well, we got Torshi brings up the Rob Zombie. Was that Munsters they did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Never saw it. Again, just not my thing. You joke, Jay. Some of us are still waiting on the Munsters X. Oh, versus the Addams Family. That might be fun. We could have like a one-on-one fighter, right? Yeah. Jay, that was a song someone made up on our blog back in the day. Probably. Probably.
Torchy. He's dead to me since he never used his song Dragula on Monsters. One job, Rob. You had one job.
He could have just changed in the back of I guess you can't say Addams Family. He could have put Addams Family in there and just like dubbed it in. Yeah. Dude, remix your own song. You got a song now in the charts, and you got a movie that I heard is pretty bad, but I don't know.
I would rather he just make an entire movie of Munster-related music video.
Right.
Okay. Wow, this is a breath of fresh air. This is a fresh breath of air in a morbid market. I see what you did there. The Turbo version disappointed me, but the Super NES version blows me away. It's not by any means the best game to hit the scene, but compared to great games like Big Run and Bombuzai, I will take the Addams Family. It is definitely above average. 7. Okay.
Christoph, hello, my friend.
Hey, Christoph.
So the NES is still pumping out games. Yes, it is indeed. We got the Blue Marlin by Hawt B. Steve gives it a 7. This game, like its predecessor, lacks flashy graphics or intense gameplay. But like more addictive titles such as Tetris, it makes up for it by the play and technique that the worlds above most of the 8-bit titles that are worlds above most of the 8-bit titles now in the market. This is a great leisurely paced fun that will disappoint only the most battle-hardened jet jockeys. That was written crazy, man.
Yeah.
That was like whatever. Like
that was Steve a couple of whiskey bottles in.
Yeah, so gotta say all that, and it's above average. Blue Marlin. So yeah, there's still people. Listen, there was still people I knew rocking the Nintendo in '92. I was one of them. I would not get rid of that thing. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no. How else would we play Mario 3?
Yeah,
I'm not getting rid of that thing. Are you crazy? No way.
Yeah, I mean there was no backwards compatibility. Like, what was Nintendo thinking? Okay, Blue Marlin, the sequel to Black Bass, is a marvelous fishing simulator for the Nintendo. From picking your lure, piloting your boat, and casting your fishing rod, Blue Marlin will catch your attention time and time again. Raise your strength and stamina by working on smaller fish. Compete with friends? What else? 7. Okay.
Jacques, I agree. I think fishing games can be really fun. And I know that you love to fish, so like
Yeah,
Sega Bass Fishing on Dreamcast is great. There's a lot of good ones. So, and I love fishing in Ocarina of Time. I think it's a lot of fun. Fishing in Stardew Valley was great.
yeah,
Animal Crossing, like I love the act of doing it in a game for sure.
yeah. I gave an old weed that I had sitting downstairs, to a client because he had problems going fishing. Like he couldn't
Oh yeah,
unload the boat, and that. Well, the guy was in his 80s, and he'd literally sit in his. And I got him the fishing rod attachment for the Wii controller, and he'd sit in his fishing in his living room just fishing.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, gave him something to do during the pandemic.
Josh says I was rocking the NES well into the late '90s. I traded my NES for a weight bench so I could train for football.
Okay.
Black Bass. When did that come out for the NES? Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't have the date offhand. I'm not too sure, bud. I think it's an earlier one though. Wacky Races for the NES by Atlas. 6. Woo. Don't know the cartoon. I'm a Ren and Stimpy fan myself, but the gameplay is totally lacking. It's another entry into the side scrolling action sweepstakes with power ups, risk incentives, and more. There's not a lot here that can be called new, but fans of the genre as well as younger players will probably enjoy it. I think Steve's getting a little sassy.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting a little sassy here.
Just a little bit. And Black Bass came out October 18th, 1988.
There you go.
And
Thank
in
you.
1994, they got Basson's Black Bass with Hank Parker in 1994.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. Just the fun things you can learn, right?
With Google. What would we do
With-
without Google?
Oh, God. Like 90% of my job is Google. Okay. This is a really cute game with cool sound effects. The graphics are funny, and the characters are well drawn. Muttley will bring you back to your early childhood years when he snickers in his own special way. The control is good, and if you love the Saturday morning cartoon, you will like the Nintendo game. 7. All right.
Wacky, yeah. Does nothing for me.
I
Pool
was
of
never.
Raisins?
Yeah, I was never a wacky races guy.
I guess it's a cartoon.
Yeah, it
One
is.
thing we never do is we never read the description of the actual game.
Yeah.
But whatever. Pool of Radiance for the NES by FCI. Steve gives it a 6. I've got to admit that these games don't normally deliver real thrills for me, but this title has been put together with a much better scope than the first entry of FCI's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons series. From the setup to the graphics to the sound support, the game excels over the first title in almost every way, but remains a long shot in my book. Oh, look at what Martin gave it. Oh my God. 3, dude. Crazy.
Yeah, apparently he's not so fond of running around a maze for countless hours.
I mean, this kind of game, like Phantasy Star 1 is one of my favorite games, but the part that I don't like the most are the dungeons, which are all in first person. Granted, they
Yeah.
are animated, but this I think is still pictures, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but you could get the point is you easily get lost in games like this, right? And I don't like that stuff. But
I remember playing this, and it didn't pull me in. Which is funny because I love D&D.
right.
Okay, hey adventure lovers, Dungeons and Dragons: Pools of Radiance is here, and it rocks the socks off of its predecessor, Heroes of the Lance. The first game was inadequate, but this title really has adventure in the classic Ultima style. The overhead perspective, experience points, mysteries, clues, and gameplay are solid. 6 out of 10.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, see, Toshi, I don't know anything about Wacky Races. So it was
Yeah,
bigger in Japan, was it? Okay. Okay.
yeah. I wasn't. I've heard of it and I've seen bits and uh, pieces of it, but again, not my jam.
Chuck Rock for the Genesis by Virgin Interactive.
I remember playing this.
Not since Kato and Ken for the PC Engine, which is JJ and Jeff here, has the game been able to entertain me while also delivering a heavy piece of gameplay. Chuck Rock introduces some interesting new concepts to a standard action adventure scenario. It embraces representing one of the best such titles since Sonic. Wait a minute. Chuck Rock introduces some interesting new concepts to the standard action adventure scenario it embraces, representing one of the best such titles since Sonic. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
This Chuck is rock solid. 8.
Okay.
I read it as it was there, ladies and gentlemen. That was not me. Sometimes it is, but that time it was not.
I'm thinking, Steve's getting a little deeper into that whiskey bottle, folks.
He might be drinking. I don't know. I don't know if he's drinking or not. He might be. He might be.
He might be. You never know. This, was the late 80s, early 90s. It was common.
But this game got some great scores here. So
yeah, even from Sushi. Chuck Rock is a great game for anyone who likes action and laughter. From the moment you start, you'll be laughing hysterically. The graphics are comical, and the music jams. Try and walk underneath a dinosaur if you like a real challenge. By the way, bring a gas mask and get ready for a surprise. 8 out of 10.
Chuck does some,
Yeah. Yeah.
Marble Madness now for the Sega Genesis by EA. Roasted. Well, I mean, that's average technically, but I don't think a 5's super great. It's still average, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Steve gives it a 5. While I was one of the biggest fans of the coin op, this version, while nearly pixel perfect in its appearance, falls way short in the actual gameplay. Like nearly every rendition, the control in the 16-bit update is truly lacking. To be fair, let me finish first. Together with one of 6 rounds of play, the great looks of Marble Madness could have made this card a winner. I will say that Marble Madness uses a trackball, in the arcade. And to my knowledge, they never brought out a trackball peripheral for any of these older consoles. So trying to replicate how the game actually moves is difficult to do. It just is.
Yeah, when you've got a 4-direction D-pad, it's insanely difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it seems like Sushi's kind of forgiving. He might be still on that CES Super Street Fighter 2.
I think he's just being hipster. I think he's just like, if the other guys like it, he won't like it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, he seems to like a lot of things this week, or in this month's issue. Marble Madness is just that, sheer madness. Very few Marble Madness conversions can stand up to the coin op, but this comes close. Sad to say, however, the Game Boy version is much better than the Genesis game. Even without the color, the Game Boy game has much more control. Sorry. Wow, it's very rare you hear Game Boy superior.
But yeah, I mean, with a game like this, I mean, with every game, control is number one. At least it is with me.
Yeah.
The game, like they're saying, the game looks like the arcade. It's like a pixel perfect port, but it doesn't play well. If you don't have good control in a video game, you really don't have anything.
Yeah. Then you're just screaming at the TV, asking why your character isn't doing what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I wonder if my Atari trackball will work. I don't know if it's the same pin set for the Atari to the Genesis. I know maybe it is actually. Yeah, I think it is. Try it.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Some controllers will. I think the Genesis has the old school 5-pin, I think.
Yeah.
Only plugs into the Genesis, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Atari plugs into the Genesis, yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling Thunder by
Mm.
Namco for the Sega Genesis. This was a fun one.
Mm.
Very similar to Shinobi by Sega back in the day. It's the same kind of game. If you played Shinobi, you know what you're getting into with this.
I played the original. I actually still have the original on the NES, and I
Right.
was so young I couldn't remember the storyline, so I just made it a story about G.I. Joe trying to rescue somebody captured by Cobra.
Why not? And it also got an EGM award, the Editor's Choice Gold Award. And we're hearing rumblings. Kanan is here.
Yeah.
Anyway, good to see you, mate. It's okay. Just have it on in the background while you get your coffee. There you go.
Mm.
Try and report back. Yeah. Okay. From the awesome execution, incredible graphics, and truly stupendous cinema storyline, Rolling Thunder 2 is one of the most challenging and entertaining action carts to appear on the Genesis. Sure, you still can't shoot while you're in the air, but all in all, the game has action and adventure that can't be matched. I don't know about that, but eight regardless.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Rolling Thunder 2 is awesome. The graphics rival the coin op, and the two-player option rocks. The cinemas are even great, and the music is fairly decent. Even though the game itself is just a rehash of the first, Namco made many improvements as a side-scrolling shooter. Rolling Thunder 2 is a charmer.
It's a charmer. Wow, there's a terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game. Never 100% my style, but I thought Namco was always a pretty solid company.
Yeah, Namco is primarily known for like Pac-Man and that. I'd say they're a solid company.
Terminator.
Ooh.
For the Genesis by Virgin Games. Steve, again, a 7.
Mm-hmm.
This game has a cool pace and graphics that match the ton of the action from the movie. Although the gameplay is a bit, abbreviated, the concepts behind it expand upon the Terminator mythos and really charge into the adventure. Wow, this is it's a rough one. There's some major problems with the control, but overall the action is top notch. And look, again, I'll say you cannot send a game out with bad controls. You can't. And there were a ton of games like that on Genesis. A lot of the earlier ones that had bad control. You just can't do it, man. I mean, it looks great. It's got the Terminator IP. I'm sure it's great looking.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't play good, you're dead in the water.
Yeah. If it doesn't have the controls, if I'm going to spend an hour screaming at my character on the screen while my dad says, look, if you're getting too excited, I'll take it away.
Marcus is saying, a lot of these titles deserve remaster versions. I would love to see remasters, kind of similar to what's one off the top of my head, the Bionic Commando.
Oh yeah,
that we got for the Xbox during the Summer of Arcade. I think it was like 2010. Not the 3D one, but the side scroller one that they redid. I think more than enough time has gone by. I would like to see. I agree with you. I would like to see.
Yeah. If you want to remaster something, let's go back into the history of gaming. And I don't mean 2-3 years. Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the NES and Genesis days, and let's start picking out some of those, because I would love a remaster of Comic Zone. It's one of my all-time favorite games.
Right.
Bionic Commando, easily one of my favorites. I remember spending so much time playing that game. Okay.
You're up.
Yeah. Wow, the movie was great, and the Genesis title is nearly as good. Terminator is just about the best storyline for a movie. Okay. As well as a rocking Genesis game. Do not worry, this game is not another movie-turned-video game disappointment. The graphics are splendid, and the music has a vivid beat. 8. All right. I would agree. Now we get crappy video games turned into movies.
Well, game movies, even back here, have always been bad. Like the NES Star Wars games were terrible, but
Oh yeah.
Crib Tom says, Jay, I was a hardcore Eternal Champions player on the Genesis. You couldn't beat that game with the stock 3-button controller. You had to have the 6-button. I remember playing that game. I liked it.
Yeah.
And I did have the Sega 6-button. I think it was a must for.
If you were going into a fighting game, absolutely.
And you know what's crazy right now? Let's think about this where we are right now. We have not seen or heard anything about Mortal Kombat yet. Isn't that crazy? Like Mortal Kombat is nowhere yet.
That is absolutely crazy.
This is a post MK world. We know that's going to take on Street Fighter for the arcade dominance. But it is crazy right now that Mortal Kombat was released in 92.
Yeah.
So they really kept it top secret for sure.
Yeah. Curbstomp, I speak a bit of German myself, mainly because I study it on Duolingo, but I learned to swear in German.
Curbstomp listens to Rammstein, that's why. Shout out to my buddy Thor. There he is. Handsome devil back then. Look at him.
Yes. Had the world at his feet, you know.
Two Crude Dudes by Data East. This was an attempt to expand on the Bad Dudes world.
Yeah.
I never thought it was anything special. I never played the Genesis one, but I certainly remember the arcade one. Yeah. It was all right. Steve gives it a 6. This game never really did develop a following in the arcades, but that doesn't mean the concept is bad. You've got street fighting in front of a side-scrolling drop that looks really good on the Genesis. There's not the same level of depth in fighting as, say, Street Fighter 2, but the action is decent. Well, I mean, this is not a one-on-one fighting game, Steve. This is a beat-em-up. It's a little different.
Yeah, I mean,
personally,
I wasn't a big Bad Dudes fan. My friends and I played like Contra and Narc more.
Yeah.
But that was us. Two Crudes Dude is far too easy to really attract serious gamers. Even on the hardest level, the game is simple to finish. The graphics are good, but the music is a little corny. Still, kids will go gaga over the cartoonish feel and the easy-to-learn controls, since it is a 2-player simultaneous game also. It deserves a decent score. 7.
Yeah, Jacques says Bad Dudes and Two Crude Dudes were just no. I agree.
Yeah. I agree.
You know, like a game is not that great when they have to insult their competitor. And I remember Bad Dudes specifically on one of their ads said, like, better than Double Dragon. Everyone's saying it's better than Double Dragon. No, nobody said that.
Nobody said that.
It was competing against Double Dragon. That's it.
If anybody ever said that, chances are they were drunk in an arcade.
And then I would even take that a step further, and like Streets of Rage and Final Fight, those games crushed Double Dragon, in my opinion. But that's just Missile Command. Oof,
not your game, huh?
Missile Command for the Game Boy by Accolade, which is a division of Atari. No, this is another game that uses a trackball in the arcade.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that.
I hate this game. Let me confess to you guys right now. As far as OG original arcade games go, I hate Missile Command. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. I'd rather play Pac-Man for the 2600 than the arcade version of this game. That's how much I dislike it.
Yeah.
It's just, you only get a certain amount of missiles, and you have to like, it's kind of, there's a lot of strategy involved. I just find it very dull. It's just very dull. Not my thing. Steve likes it. He gives it a 7 on the Game Boy.
Wow.
This is a classic coin-op that, while losing some of the challenge, holds up quite well on the Game Boy. The action is overly complex, in fact. It eventually becomes repetitive. But for anyone who wants to relive the end of the world like they did in the arcades, Missile Command keeps its promise until the very end. Yeah.
There is a legend that says the very last level of Missile Command can be synced up to Rush's Tom Sawyer.
Really?
There is. These games are heavy math based. The developer, the designer of it, even admitted that you have to have like seriously high math skills to get very far in this, to understand what's happening behind
There
the
you
scenes.
go. That would explain why. Wasn't so good at it. I just thought it was boring, and I get why people like it. I get it. It
I
just
grew
for
up.
me, it was just like meh.
I grew up in the '80s, man. I didn't need Missile Command to simulate a possible nuclear war. We lived in that fear every day.
Pretty much.
And ooh, I see the poll is up.
Poll's done. 75%. Did you read yours yet?
I haven't yet. I'm going to now. Surprisingly enough, Missile Command is a good Game Boy game. Why not? The original never needed any flashy colors or high-tech graphics, nor did it require special effects or jamming sounds.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Since it does not scroll, the terrible blurring effect will not occur. Take it from me. Very few games can play well on the Game Boy. Damn, dude.
Yeah, he hates the Game Boy. We knew that from last time you were on the show. Sushi X does not like the Game Boy.
He does not like the Game Boy, and boy, he really doesn't like it anymore.
Gradius Interstellar Assault by Konami for the Game Boy. If there's one genre I was really kind of glad to see not in the limelight as much, it was shooters, and not now we say the term shooter and most of us think of like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Obviously, back then, shooters referred to side-scrolling and three-quarter top-down space shooters, which flooded the market throughout the 80s and the 90s. So I'm kind of glad when they kind of phased out. One or two new ones here or there was fine, but like during like the beginning of the Genesis, the TurboGrafx, there was so many, and of course the 2600.
Oh yeah, but, yeah. I feel it. I grew up. You guys had the nuclear scare. We had the border war here in South Africa. Yeah, that's true, Joe.
7, the Gradius series and the Game Boy version does a decent job of expanding on what has become one of my favorite shooters. There are some problems with identifying obstacles in certain rounds due to the limitations of the Game Boy, but overall the action, graphics, and execution deliver all that is promised. Man.
I will say I am not a huge like shooter type fan. I used to play one, and probably the only one I really like is Battle of Midway. I think it was by Capcom.
Was that 1943?
1943.
Yeah.
And it was because the place I went for swimming lessons every Friday had a cocktail table version of it in their lobby. And if I was really, really good, my dad would give me a couple quarters.
Yeah, those cocktail tables were fantastic.
I love those. They still are. I've looked into buying one. Talk about sticker price shock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they take up less room, which is good, but I would still stick with the upright arcade game.
One of the things I loved about them was actually being able to put like a glass or a can of pop or something on it.
Right.
Yeah. Gradius for Game Boy. Oh boy. It is a decent game, but the blurring ruins some of the gameplay. As a matter of fact, in certain areas, you may as well not even guide your ship because it becomes nearly invisible amidst the chaos. Take your chances with something less volatile, like Missile Command. Ooh. 5.
Mutron has returned. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, Mutron.
And Avatar is still running on what, a server or a server far away?
Yes, probably.
Just gonna say, Sarah, thank you for the sub. Yeah, I'm bad at pronouncing. My apologies. Okay, so we're moving on from Gradius. Thor again.
Oh man, Thor's getting all the endorsement deals.
Yeah, look at all these reviews. Still the best part of the magazine, and they're really, really expanding. We're in March, and we're seeing just a ton of reviews here. So this is great.
Yeah, I love this stuff. There's so many memories bringing back with this. Like I remember playing some of these games, and they were always fun.
Mega Man 2 by Capcom for the Game Boy. 8 from Steve. All of the technique, action, lively graphics, and animation from the NES versions of Mega Man have been captured for his second Game Boy adventure. Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy is a great addition to the Portable's library of adventure titles and definitely a surefire pleaser for anyone familiar with Mega Man. That's a pretty terrible picture that they picked, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It also got the Editor's Choice Gold Award, so well done, Mega Man.
Which I think is actually over the picture of Mega Man.
Probably, yeah. Good stuff.
But wow, even Sushi likes it. Mega Man 2. This is a good game for the Game Boy. Wow. Capcom continues to amaze us by creating nearly impossible games for difficult systems, i.e. Street Fighter 2 on the SNES, page 84. The control is just as unbelievable as the Nintendo version, and the only thing it lacks is the vibrant colors. I will say this, Capcom, they do it. They did it then. They do it today. They pretty much nail every game they try to create.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a company that understands that gameplay should be at the forefront.
Yes.
So even though Mega Man is a platformer, it's known for its bright colors. It's very attractive because of its bright colors. You have none of that here, and it still gets all 8s.
That's all about speaking volumes.
Yep, 100%.
And they also realized that the soundtrack is important.
Oh God, the soundtrack is amazing. Now, on the other hand, we got Boggle.
Boggle.
By
Parker Brothers
for the Game Boy by Parker Brothers. 3. I mean, this game on its own is brutal, but now we got a video game form.
Talk about things we never asked for.
The game is a natural for the Game Boy with one important problem. It can't play the game right. I like Boggle, and the computer-assisted play on the Game Boy works just fine, but the whole process of entering responses to the key letters is too tedious, and most of the words aren't recognized. Frustrating. Not fun. 3. That's an epic failure. Epic.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of 3s in this magazine very often.
We got a 3 on Boggle, ladies and gentlemen. Complete failure. All right. Oh, it's on repeat. There you go. All right, you're up.
All right. Sushi X. Boggle is just about the worst game I have ever seen for the Game Boy. The only good thing about it is the idea. This is a good travel game, with one exception. Do not expect the Game Boy to recognize even 50% of the completely valid words. At least if you have the real game, you could double check a dictionary. 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's bad. We have Toki. Does anyone remember Toki during the whole mascot wars?
Yeah,
this is like an Atari character. I think this version is made by Atari, but I don't know if the actual game itself is an Atari game. But here we go. Toki, I don't even know. I think he's an ape that spits. I think. I don't remember. No, maybe he's not. I can't even tell by the screenshots. Who cares? Who cares?
Early humans struggling to survive in a chaotic prehistoric world.
Oh, I guess I could have read the description of the game itself. Hey, Mac, what's up? Good morning. Good to see you.
Hey, Mac.
We got an 8 from Steve. Anyone who likes the cult classic of an arcade title will finally be pleasantly surprised to find that the very best translation is yet on the Atari links. The action in this game is even more fun on the portable screen, allowing me to get into the action even more than I did in the arcade. A great game that's a must for Link's owners. And Munu, Sammy, thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah. Go Lynx. Toki is a marvelous translation from the coin op to the Lynx. The color is vibrant and delicious, and the control is outstanding. I really enjoyed the arcade game and was somewhat disappointed with the Genesis version. This, however, is a true translation that even feels like the coin op. Good job, Atari. 8. That's high praise coming from Sushi.
Absolutely. And we're going to continue. There's Blue Marlin. There you go, Jacques. We're going to take a 4-minute break here to grab another coffee. And in the meantime, let's close this up here. I will entertain you guys with one of my videos. So while we're on the break, you guys are going to get to watch me playing Halloween for the 2600. So Den and I will return in 4 minutes, my friends. Please enjoy. Oh, our head.
Don't know what death is.
Like, I seriously can't even hit record because Michael Mortenton comes after me. Welcome to my playthrough of Halloween for the Atari 2600 computer entertainment system. Here we go. This is, I don't know if I'm Laurie Strode. All the lights are going off. Oh, Morton. Here comes Michael Morton on me. I can't see. I think our goal is to rescue these kids.
Watch this.
Like this, but he won't come with me. Okay, come with me. Come on. We have to escape the clutches of the vile Michael Manson. Come with me. We keep running. Oh, now he's on this side for some strange reason. I don't know where to take this kid or how to save him, but I go to this end and now Michael's here. You guys recognize John Carpenter's iconic score. It sounds just like it. We go in this door. Okay, come on, kid. The kid didn't follow me. What? Kid! Oh my god, he's screaming. Like, come on. Come with me. Now he's gone.
No running in the hallway.
What happened? Now he's gone. What are the jack-o'-lanterns at the top? What does the button do? How do I escape? It's a dead end. All right, we're going downstairs. Let's go here. Michael Myers and the Halloween. My character looks pretty good. It looks exactly like Laurie Strode. Here's Michael Myers back at us. What happens if he gets us? Do we lose a Oh, blood! Michael, give me a second. I gotta figure out how to play. Michael, stop it this minute. Michael, I kind of rescued the one kid. How do I have 0 points? What am I doing? What's is that a piece of poo? Oh, God! There's another one. Come on, kid, run! It's my... Oh, my God. It's Michael Morton. It's just like the movie. He's gonna kill the kid. Don't kill the kid. Oh, he killed the kid. Here we go. Now, the thing with Atari 2600 games is that everything looks the same. Nothing makes sense. And if you don't have the manual, you're screwed. Follow the manufacturer's instructions. Connect your video game to the television. No, I don't want that. You control the babysitter character, and at certain times, the child characters. You must move through the 16 rooms, the 2-story house, avoid the killer. Well, they can't save Michael Minnins. We've gotta save one kid. Oh my god, the lights are flickering. I'm so scared of it all. They'll never find me in here. Dudes. What? Why can't I get that? No, I earned that. Is that a knife? I want it. Take this, Michael. Oh my god, I killed Michael Myers. 225 points. Best game ever. Now there's a red room, now there's a blue room. I'm freaking lost, but hey, it doesn't matter. You want to know why? Because we're on the scoreboard. That's why. Oh my god, here he comes. A lot of imagination you got to use here. Oh my god, he squirted the kid's head off. Michael! You guys remember when Jamie Lee Anderson ran from Michael Myers? This is exactly what happened. Come on, get it. Oh my god, this is incredibly frustrating. Okay, how did we lose points? This is the edge of the world. Look, she can't go any further. Screw this, kid. Save yourself. What? I can't get it that way either? I mean, I gotta say, for a 2600 game, it's pretty impressive. Oh. Okay. I've been killed. That was Halloween on the Atari 2600, guys. Thanks. Like and subscribe. You're the best. Cheers. There's a guy right there. Yeah!
She finally comes on. Jeez.
No doubt, man. Yeah, buddy. We got him. Making contact. Old school Fortnite. Look at that. That's like old school video, that one. That was a fun season. That was a couple seasons ago. That was the Mad Max kind of inspired. Oh, there we go. All right, we're back.
Just saying how awesome the Blue Marlin cover looks.
Oh yeah, there's so many like box art covers. I wish I could just get into a poster and frame. I'm sure some places do it. I think that would be.
The Black Bass cover also looks really great.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, simple but effective.
Boom. All right, we're back. So we are here with releases for the month of, I think we're in March. Yes, March 1992. So why don't we go through some Nintendo games coming out? We got Bucky O'Hare. Shout out to Larry Hama. Dragon Warrior 3, Paperboy 2, Star Trek. All you Trekkies out there.
That was me.
Turtles 3, Hudson Hawk. Oh my God. Ghoul School, G.I. Joe, The Atlantis Factor. And what's coming out for Super Nintendo, Dan? What we got coming out?
Well, we got, of course, the Addams Family. We, of course, have the ASCII pad. Not really software, but okay. Nolan Ryan Baseball, PGA Golf, for those who like to fall asleep. Raiden, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2, Round Ball. Okay. Super Battle Tank, I remember that game. Super Pit. Yeah, Super Battle Tank was fun. Coming right before Desert Storm. Super Pit Fighter, World League Soccer, and of course the always classic The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
I don't remember Zelda coming out in March. I definitely didn't get it as soon as it came out. I think I got mine maybe in the summer.
One of the kids in my class got it as soon as it came out, and I remember going over to his place about a month later, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just about to beat Ganon." I'm like, "It's taking you this long?" He's like, "It's so much fun, man."
There's so much to it. So Turbo, we got a couple releases. We have Valus 3 for the Turbo CD, and then we got Lords of the Rising Sun. Lynx only has a couple. Neo Geo always has a couple. Nothing for the Master System. Look at that. Yeah, I think the Master still went pretty good in Europe, but here in Canada, United States, it was DOA.
Yeah.
Just gone. Oh no. I always forget, and then I always remember when I see it. All of the reading up until this point was a cakewalk, ladies and gentlemen, compared to the Quarterman.
Yeah. It's like the further you get into one of his letters, the more he starts drinking.
Quarterman is the man on the street. He is the man who goes out there and gets all the rumors, and what makes Quarterman great is most of what he says is true. I think he's only been wrong once that I've counted. Really great column, but he just puts whatever he wants into whatever he's thinking onto the page, so it can make for some challenging reading.
Let's admit he was the Nostradamus of the video game world back in the day.
Yeah. Christoph, you're born in 91. There you go, mate.
All right. So you're 10 years younger than me. Congrats. Don't get older.
Blow my quarters and power me up. This is how we start. Quarterman. Blow my quarters and power me up. 'Tis I, Quarterman, back once again with a bulging bag of booty straight from behind the closed doors of the video game Heavy Hitters. We've got a bumper crop of very special gossip from the floor of the Winter Consumer Electronics Show, where the rumor mill was in overdrive and yours truly was putting in overtime. The big news at the show was the first disclosure of information pertaining to the Nintendo CD-ROM system. Not only will this new SuperDrive function be a separate coprocessor that speeds up the action of the Big N's 16-bitter, it will also be upgradable to be compatible with a Philips CDI unit. What packs an even greater punch, however, is the fact that Nintendo plans on getting their mega peripheral into the home for under $200. Although some rumors indicate a delivery schedule that will land the system on store shelves prior to Christmas this year, the Q Minotaur says, don't count on it. Oh my God, I need a drink.
Yeah. I will say this. He has a way with words.
Dan, good luck to you. Good luck to you.
All right. Thrusting into other CD gaming news, the Q-Man has heard rumors from sources within Sega that the upcoming release of their Mega CD drive, will be accompanied with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as the pack-in. Sonic will also make sequel appearances in both cartridge-based game as well as an arcade game on Sega's System 32 that invites multiple players to assume the role of different colored Sonics. Way cool. In other Sega CD development, the Genesis/CD-ROM hybrid, now being created by the technical wizards at JVC, has been given a working title, the Wonder Mega. Stupid name for a super system. Joe knows tomatoes. Q-Man Food sees Batman 2 as an adventure RPG on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo.
What? Q-Man Fu? Like, what are you talking about? What's happening here?
I'm wondering how long he goes off his meds for these.
Marcus says, is it possible to find those classic physical gaming magazines in stores? Yes. Yeah, not all game stores carry them, but I've seen like the one Game Cycle in my hometown here. Shout out to Game Cycle. They donated a bunch of EGMs for Will and I to sign and give away for upcoming contests. So they sell them for sure. So they're out there. And unless you're getting into like the first 10 issues of Nintendo Power or EGM, they're really not that expensive. They're really
no. But, you know, if you do have sentimental value to some specific issue, there's a good chance you will find it out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You just got to look.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. I need a sip.
Might need to Irish up the coffee for the full Q-Man effect.
Riding high on the first info of the Color Game Boy from Nintendo last year, Quarterman has discovered that the machine is now reaching the final stages of development, with certain suits gaining access to preliminary discussions with the Big N during the recent Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. The unit, which is rumored to be maintaining the same basic size and structure of the original Game Boy, is being called, are you ready for some originality? The Super Game Boy. So that, as we know, ladies and gentlemen, is incorrect. The Super Game Boy was the name of the attachment that allowed you to play Game Boy games on your TV for your Super Nintendo. And of course, the Game Boy that is color was known as Game Boy Color.
Yes.
But he's got the names right, and this is not his fault, right? But
no, I mean, he's working on rumors.
Yeah, yeah. The device is rumored to be set for a late 1992 release and could come in at under $100. at $100 Magic Market toy stores near you. Okay. An unconfirmed report is that Quarterman also has a powerful portable using a dot matrix screen similar to one employed in a Game Boy and having full compatibility with your original black and white gray carts. The Q-Man throws Nintendo a big yawn for that, but the concept of a new color portable gets me tranked.
Okay.
Well, okay. Especially when you consider the long list of developers who will produce for it. What does that mean? Portables get tranked. Help me, chat. What does that mean?
I have no clue.
That means they get you buzzed? Sure, whatever you need. Quarterman.
Mutron mentions they do retro collection reissues, I believe, in compendiums. Didn't you share something about Kickstarter getting an EGM compendium?
Yes, right now there's an Electronic Gaming Monthly compendium on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I backed it.
Yeah, so you can. I think there's digital and physical, depending on how much dough you lay out.
Yeah,
it's
I would. Cool. I would love to have a physical.
So cool, so cool.
So many awesome things. All right, Acclaim has devoured Arena Software in an attempt to keep their expanding empire on the cutting edge. Does that make us the rebellion?
Aye.
Look for Alien 3 to turn up on other formats outside of the Genesis, as well as in other more exciting places. Speaking of Alien 3, did you see the story about Miss Ripley getting attention from an anxious alien in the new flick? Don't know about you, but I don't buy it. Look for Street Fighter 2, the ultimate 16 meg fighting game for the Super NES, to turn up again in the arcades with a new name. Tournament Street Fighter 2 will include all new moves as well as some unique characters to go at one-on-one. Quarterman doesn't know yet if Capcom will include some of these enhancements in their 16-bit SNES version, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, he's close. We got another version of Street Fighter coming, but it was Champion Edition. Cutthroat, yeah, that was one day that we were doing Community Day for Fortnite, and Will showed up late.
Yeah.
Okay, Acclaim. Wait, no, you did that one. You just did that one.
Yeah.
In closing, Mr. Q would like to give all of his little friends a recap on what has been the best of the best at the Consumer Electronics Show. Street Fighter 2 was buff on action like no other 16-bit title, even if it was only 25% done. Wings 2 was a great fighting simulation in the same spirit as Pilot Wings, and probably the best overall use of Mode 7. Splatterhouse 2 gets my vote for one of the coolest looking Genesis carts, and Turtles 4 ranked right behind Smash TV as one of the best arcade to home conversions this pair of eyes has ever seen. That wraps it up for this issue, my Q fans. Remember to always go for the big points, never miss that power up, and try to have a lovely day. Quarterman!
I would love to meet this guy in person.
I would not like to meet this guy in person.
No.
It's the ASCII pad mascot guy. Who's
actually, that looks like my friend's older brother during his high school years.
Like half punk rock, half
normal,
just like regular dude. But when he touches the ASCII pad, he turns into a punk rock. The ASCII pad, the super selective turbo propulsion power. Oh my God, it even beats the games for you.
Oh wow, the Kickstarter. Yeah, the Kickstarter, Torshi says, Kickstarter already reached 315K in just 3 days.
Oh yeah, they were funded in was it like under 40 minutes or something?
Oh yeah, just proof that we miss the physical stuff and the great reviews.
Well, yeah, I would say physical for sure, but people who know EGM know that, we talked about this before, and not to throw shade at reviewers like IGN, because IGN is the top dog, but when you have one person doing a review compared to 4, I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Even GamePro just had one person review a game.
Yeah.
EGM was the first one to have multiple people review a game, and it was, lack of a
Yeah.
better terminology, it was a game changer.
It was, because you got 4 different people's point of view on it, and they didn't always agree.
Yeah, guys, check out the Electronic Gaming Monthly Compendium. It's on Kickstarter right now. You can back it. You can get a copy of it for sure. Indo Nerd says, rumor has it, Quarterman hung out at local arcades. If you approached him, he was brandish. Dude. That's good. That's good. But I don't think I ever saw him at Ace Arcade, Indo Nerd. Did you? I don't even know what he looks like. I think he wore like a Darth Vader mask or some stuff like that.
Yeah. He was the guy in the dark corner, with a notepad and a pencil, just writing everything down that kids said.
I think someone looked that up. We found out that Sushi X was a combination of a bunch of different editors. But I think Quarterman, was he somebody? Was he just Quarterman, or did we find out that he was actually like Ed or something like that? I don't think it was, but anyway. Moving on. Prince of Persia for Game Boy. No, thank you.
Not a Prince of Persia guy, huh?
Never been. The early ones too, with the rotoscoping, is just. I mean, I appreciate them. It's like Out of This World and Flashback. I appreciate those games, but they were never for me. Never my thing. Jacques, we'll see you later, buddy. Have a good dinner. Thank you for hanging out on a Sunday. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button, if you're enjoying the stream, please throw a like. If you're enjoying it, enjoy the content, please consider supporting it in any way you can. I do appreciate it, and the channel appreciates it as well. We're going to get into EGM Express here. Nintendo releases the specs on the Super Nintendo CD-ROM. Now, we won't read all of this, but I feel like our tech expert here, Den of Geek, should probably get into a little bit of the tech stuff within the Super Nintendo CD-ROM.
I'd be happy to. I was back in my prime during the 90s. There was very few electronics that I hadn't broken. And eventually figured out.
So let's compare, and maybe you can break it down a little bit. Let's compare. Let's go to the spec chart on the bottom, and we can compare the Sega CD to what I believe to be right now the PlayStation.
Yeah.
The original CD-ROM was the Nintendo PlayStation, and they left Sony at the altar to go with the cheaper Philips. So I think these specs might be for the PlayStation. I don't know.
Might be the early prototypes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look. We've got RAM, Nintendo 8 megabit versus Sega's 6 meg. Okay, I can see that. That's within normal parameters for the 90s. I mean, that was a lot of RAM in 1992.
Right.
The sub memory, fairly straightforward and standard. The system ROM, okay, that was a bit of 1 megabit was pretty common back in the day. Access times 0.75 seconds versus 0.8. Honestly, back then, access times really weren't that important, considering what we were getting. And then the maximum was 1.3 versus 1.4. Again, you're looking at system lag.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty powerful. It's still, I wouldn't say blows it away, though.
No, it really wasn't even back then.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were to compare this to a computer system back then, like a straight gaming computer system, it'd be a little bit slower.
Right.
But for what it's doing, hey, Curbstomp, all right.
We got KB Jotographs. What's up, mate? Happy Sunday to you. Good to see you in the chat. Vickman's here. Hola, Jay. Hola, everyone. Let's see what this mag has to offer. A lot so
And
far.
coprocessors, again, pretty common. Scaling rotation, motion video, yes. CDI compatible. Now, I love hearing this. CDI is rapidly becoming the CD standard for interactive video. Nintendo is working with Philips in creating a special CD-ROM XA bridge format, and this will allow the Super Nintendo CD games to play on the Philips CDI hardware.
Okay, so we've already gone past the PlayStation in history now. So
Yeah.
it is Philips for sure tied in
Yeah.
with Nintendo here. Okay.
Yeah. So, but this is still showing you the specs of the prototype of what would eventually become, in about 6 years, 7 years, the PlayStation.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Oops. KB says, Happy Sunday. My top 5 wish list for remakes are Shadow Dancer, Legendary Wings, Jackal, Jungle Strike, and Kid Icarus. I always call it Icarus, but
yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. Legendary Wings. That's a great series.
Yeah,
Capcom is always great at making shooters, but making them different. Like Forgotten Worlds, the way they crafted that was different. Legendary Wings. So I'm with you on that.
I was always a big fan of the strike games, like Jungle Strike, one of my favorites. Back when Trip was running EA.
We still this thing just is around. It's still around. Now we got Game Genie on the Genesis. Show of hands in the chat. Who likes this thing? I know we talked about it before, but now we got it on the Genesis. I'm not a fan of this thing. I certainly understand why people bought it. I had the NES one, but I didn't like it. You know what? If you couldn't beat the game, you can't beat the game. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you give it your best college try, you spend hours on the last boss and you can't do it. You can't do it. You can give up or you can move forward. But to go in and manipulate the coding, I don't agree with it. But that's me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I tried Game Genie at a friend's place, but it didn't feel right.
There you go. Indo Nerd likes it. The Game Genie was money back in the day. I loved it. Jet never had one. Batstan says, me. Greatest CD-ROM system was the Dreamcast. My friend, but we are not there.
We're not there in history yet.
Early CD-ROM stuff, and YouTube only lets me have 4.
Yeah.
So I threw up, just to be a hipster, the Neo Geo CD, the 3DO, the Sega CD, and the TurboGrafx CD-ROM. Just out of those 4.
Yeah. Those were fun.
Another TNC surf design. I'm good. We'll skip that.
Adventure Island.
Adventure Island. We got Bill Lambier Combat Basketball for the Super Nintendo. International Outlook. Always a great segment in an EGM. One that gave me high levels of anxiety and stress because you didn't know if the game would, in fact, come here to North America where we were. So a lot of times then we would see games that looked really, really cool. And we're just like, hey, where did Parodius? Where did that go? Whatever happened to that? Oh, it just never came here. But there you go.
We would see games like this one where it's just really, really weird looking.
Yeah.
I swear, some of the Japanese games that they designed were created in fever dreams.
But they're great. I mean, again, the concept of Super Mario Brothers is out there, man. It's like Wizard of Oz wacky, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it. There were a lot of games that came out that turned into really fun series. Like, let's look at Metroid, for example.
All the early Nintendo stuff for sure.
Yeah. They were so willing to take chances, and they still are, which is why they're still around. They took chances and they were like, hey, let's just try something.
Speaking Moisty says, I don't give a lips about Bill Lambier. He was the dirtiest basketball player. Was he a scrapper? I know he had the face shield. I don't remember him being a scrapper. He was on the Pistons. That's all I remember.
Yeah, that's about all I remember.
I have only 3 GI Joe classified left to sell on my eBay store.
Cool.
That's good. I got rid of all mine. I just got Falcon. And that's because
Mm.
Chad gave them to me.
Yeah.
The rest are gone. They're gone. Goodbye. Become a VIP member. Can I please? I'll be a VIP all day long, EGM.
Subscribe to EGM today. If only we could, right, Jay?
I would love to. Now, here's one. This is interesting to me. Phantasy Star Adventure on the Game Gear. Can anybody do a search to see if this came out? Because I don't remember this coming out on Game Gear. This might have been just a Japanese one. Yeah. Yeah, this didn't come here. I've never seen this.
Actually, it did.
Wow.
Phantasy Star Gaiden, released in 1992 for the Game Gear, is a spin-off of the original Phantasy Star and takes place on a colony known as Kopto, founded by the heroine Alice Landale.
Interesting. Wow.
Oh, hold on. It was released exclusively in Japan in October of 1992.
I was gonna say, all these years, I don't remember ever seeing a Phantasy Star on Game Gear because I would have bought it for sure, just for the Phantasy Star collection. So,
just for the uniqueness of it.
We always skip past the tips and tricks section, guys. But if you want to go back and
UN Squadron, TJC tried doing some playing there.
Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. EGM has learned from sources inside Capcom that the #1 arcade game is about to get even better. This new version, which is a game in its own cabinet rather than an upgrade for existing cabinets, will be starting to trickle into arcades into late March. Now we're talking. The new game will feature additional memory, and with this, Capcom has been able to fine-tune the already excellent game. So, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who do know, just humor me. So there are 5 versions of Street Fighter 2, legit ones that came out. And I mean, not like rainbow editions and like home hacks and stuff like that, like actual legitimate editions. There were 5 of Street Fighter 2. Second was the Champion Edition. This was the first one to allow you to play as the 4 bosses. And still to this day, my favorite version of Street Fighter 2, because it didn't get wacky in terms of speed.
Yeah.
Turbo and Super Turbo, just a little too wacky. And Super Street Fighter itself, as much as I love the 4 new characters, T-Hawk, Cammy, DJ, and Fei Long, it's something about the color palette of that game. It's very pastel-y. I'm very picky with colors, and that game's just really washed out. So for my money, the best of the best is Champion Edition. That's me. What about you, Den?
I'd agree with that. I remember playing Champion Edition in the arcade at the 7-Eleven across the street from my school before school started.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Duke, sir, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. On a Sunday, my arcade had both Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition the same time. Never got the Turbo. Oh, okay.
You didn't really miss much with the Turbo, in my opinion.
Well, that one you actually did get some new moves, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the first time I think Chun-Li had a fireball, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Oz, good to see you. Hello, my friend. Happy Sunday. Cheers to you.
Hey, Oz. Ooh, Wolfang.
But this was a really great time because, like I've said before, I think when Street Fighter first debuted, when we started talking about it, in July of this year, in 1992, this is where you see the home release of World Warrior. So we got to take Street Fighter 2 home, and I remember us playing Street Fighter 2 at home and then going downtown and playing Champion Edition. It was such a magical time. It was such a magical time. Average Gamer, happy Sunday, my friend.
Hey.
Eh? Fellow Canadian, eh? I don't think I saw your picture before.
Yeah.
Cheers.
They talk about Wolfang here, and I love this. This drew me in right away. Robotech fans will enjoy this latest creation from Deco. In this hot new coin-op game, you suit up inside a massive robot, pick your robot, and take off against a whole horde of enemies.
Oh, that's very cool.
That pretty much, you got me in there with Robotech.
Yep, for sure. And Last Resort, another great SNK shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying there's this time period, there's an oversaturation of space shooters. But when you played a space shooter, one by SNK and two on the Neo Geo, it was miles above most others.
Yeah.
It was just
and
great.
Captain Commando,
Captain
another.
Commando was awesome. No one talks about this game.
I know. It's criminally not spoken of.
Yeah.
It was such a great game.
He was an assist character in Marvel vs. Capcom 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they made him playable in 3 or not. I don't know 3 that well, but I know he's an assist character. Besides that, this is his game.
Yeah. I mean, again, Capcom nailed it with that one.
RoboCop 2 for the Game Boy. I'm good. Oh, look at this. Win a Street Fighter 2 arcade game. I remember this. Oh, I'm telling you, man. This game was so exciting back then. It really was the greatest game out there. This game drew in people who didn't even ever hear of fighting games. And I was one of them. And I knew beat 'em ups, Final Fight, Double Dragon. But as far as one-on-one competition fighting went, there was nothing like this game. And to even have a chance at trying to win a home version. And dude, I remember looking up. I don't know where we looked up this information, but what it would have cost. Because I was actually thinking, man, well, if I could get my own Street Fighter 2 arcade game, this would be the ultimate. Dude, it was thousands of dollars, which is ridiculous at the time for a kid in high school to even think about that.
Yeah, buying these back then, they were $5-6 easy.
You couldn't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to have somebody who was in that market, and even then, the price was prohibitively expensive.
The artwork is interesting. This is definitely, to my knowledge, this is not Capcom artwork of Ryu here, but
no,
it might be. I don't know. I don't think it is, though.
I did find out that Captain Commando was in Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
He's a playable character?
Yeah.
Wow.
Said he's an anti-air character.
There you go.
Or anti-air assist character. So again, assist, but
look at all these prizes. So the Street Fighter 2 arcade unit, the Street Fighter 2 Super Nintendo t-shirts, World Warrior posters. Man, take me back. Take me back.
Those posters are pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder how many of those are still left in the wild.
Turtles in Time, the sequel to the arcade game. We had a pull up earlier. The original Ninja Turtles arcade game destroyed this one in terms of you guys voting today.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, I think we've got a lot more, fond memories of the arcades and playing the game or playing it on the original NES.
And no nerd, you like Turtles. It's awesome. Here, oh man. Okay. So I'm going to throw this out in the chat, and I think we've talked about this before, but it's fun to throw this out there. Name a home game from, whatever time period. Name a couple of games that you guys were so excited for, you couldn't sleep. See, 92 is the year. This is what I'm getting at. Exactly. This game was one of those games. This and Perfect Dark are two for me that I was so ecstatic for it. It was it was like Christmas morning, man. It was just you couldn't sleep. The spiritual sequel to GoldenEye and this game here coming home. Oh, dude, I was so stoked for.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my friend got Street Fighter 2 before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't wait for this weekend. We are going to spend so much time playing Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Duke says Ocarina. Look at this
Okay.
guy. Vice City.
Mm-hmm.
Vice City, yes.
And Stan's in the other camp.
Mortal Kombat. The home release of Mortal Kombat was insane. The
Yes.
marketing behind that Mortal Monday, it was awesome.
It was amazing, yeah.
Indo Nerd says Super Mario World, Super Mario 2, Double Dragon, Turtles, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. All
right. Yeah.
The MK2 hype was unmatched. Yeah, that was pretty big too.
Not just because my name's Jeff, but I got to side with Morris on this, John with Mo.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Wing and then TIE Fighter games on the PC, I loved and could not wait for them and their expansion packs to come out. I'm right there with you, man. I love a good flight game, and you put me like my friend had the PC that could actually run it. So, yeah.
I'll throw a couple more out there. Yeah, Mutron says Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Batstan says both Street Fighter Genesis games. San Andreas was Halo 2. San Andreas. For
Halo
sticking
3.
in the 90s, like just the launch of the original PlayStation. I remember Battle Arena Toshinden was when I was just like, this is insane, man. It's like Mortal Kombat, but you have weapons. Like,
yeah. For hardware, I would go with the PlayStation 2 for that kind of feeling.
That was huge. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Indo Nerd says NHL. Oh man. I loved NHL for years. 95, we used to have tournaments at Microplay. Like I love that game so much. Yeah, and I fell off after 95. But actually, Genesis 98's worth some money. That's a rare one because it was released so late. 1997, that game came out for the Genesis. That's crazy. Think about that.
Yeah, I've still actually got my copy of NHL 95.
My favorite one, although it had the game-breaking bug where it would discontinue keeping track of your stats halfway through season. I didn't care, man. I loved it. It's with my mic. There we go. It's better. Concord, it's coming back, Mutron. The rumor is it's coming back free to play. Free to play. So that means that fear not, everyone who picked up a copy of the physical. If it's free to play, there still won't be a physical. So
yeah.
And I gotta admit, I'm pretty stoked to try it if it does come back. If it's free to play, I will try it.
Yeah.
Any Simpson fans? Okay, so the winning CD-ROM system is 3DO. There you go. Let's do this. Let's do a cartoon.
Yeah.
Adult cartoon.
And this was Simpsons again in its prime.
Yeah,
this was back when they were licensed to everything.
Okay. I'll get you to we'll flip this over. Get you to talk about. Let's find a really interesting one here. Hook. Any Hook fans out there? Just while I put this poll up.
Okay.
We'll give you. There you go. Mick Kids. There's a good one.
All right. We're going. The Mick Kids. Yes. Mick Kids is a new action exploration title for the Nintendo Entertainment System from the game division design team of Virgin Games. This reminds me of back during the 2600 days.
Yeah.
When every company had its own game. Like Quaker Oats and Colgate had their own games.
Yes, and like Pepsi and Coke and weird stuff.
And then there was, of course, on the NES, there was, of course, the Noid game.
Yeah, there was Cool Spot. There was the Noid, Mick Kids, and no Captain Hook. So anyway, thanks. Poll is up, and I put just for fun, The best adult cartoon: Family Guy, Ren and Stimpy, The Simpsons, or King of the Hill. I don't know why I put King of the Hill in there.
Is it just me, or do the Mick kids, like the all-star cast, do they look creepier than in person if possible?
Yeah, they do. And we have this big spread for Mick Kids. Like, I love the EGM, but I don't think Mick Kids needed all these maps. But
and a strategy guide.
But like I said, like as we're going through this is why I love EGM. Oh, I should have put Futurama instead of King of the Hill. My bad. Hey, Danjamin, how you doing? Yeah, those are just the 4 that came to the top of my head.
Yeah.
No Family Guy, for real. I'm shocked. 0% Family Guy.
I'm a Ren and Stimpy guy, so.
Out of those, I would have to go. Oh, man.
Well, I guess we know how they paid for this issue.
I don't know. I don't know what I pick. Stream Concord or do not. There's no try, young Bartlett. I will. If it comes free to play, I'll play it one day for sure. We're still going through. Oh my god! Like the walkthrough of Mick Kids for NES, and then look, this poster's terrible. This is awful.
One cool game, 2 cool kids. I want to disagree vehemently on that one.
Generic kids. They have the same outfit. They even put their names beside them so you can get to know the mascots. Get out of here. Oh, there's Toki. Is he an ape or is he a guy?
I like at the end there, it says, the contents within this advertisement supplement were provided to the Sendai Publishing Group by the participating company. Well, we didn't think you went out and got it on your own.
Rumors had it that the kids were leftovers from the Goonies. Excited for Jay's upcoming Mick Kids stream. Oh my god, stop it.
I could make a joke. Well, actually, I will make a joke here. How much you want to bet the Mick Kids are working at McDonald's now?
They might be. They loved it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got one King of the Hill fan. 15 votes. 47% each for The Simpsons versus Ren and Stimpy. No Family Guy. I'm shocked. Anyway, we'll leave that up for a bit. Die Hard Video Games was a great import store. Loved it. Loved it. Went there once in Michigan. And we're going to just speed it up a little bit. We're over halfway of this issue here. There's the Treasure Master. The Treasure Master tournament that is still going on to this day. It's the best contest ever of all time ish. Anyway. What's up, Willie? Good to see you.
Will.
You're the King of the Hill fan. I know you are, buddy. I can tell just by looking at you. That was your vote. That's your business. It's your business.
Desert Strike. Return.
Rumor has it that's JD Roth's. Maybe that's Randy. Randy's mom and JD had Randy. So is Randy's father JD Roth? Oh my God. Might be.
Possibly.
Oh, there you go. Torshi loves the Desert Strike.
I'm a big fan of it too. It was fun. It was insanely hard.
I can say I really never played it. I remember it coming out, but I never did play it.
Yeah, it was fairly fun. Alien 3.
Alien 3 based off the movie that I have not seen. I'm just a little late.
This is the Genesis version.
So what's the big thing, right? Ripley dies at the end of this one, right? I know she has her head shaved. She dies at the end of this one, right?
Yeah,
she falls in the fire, right?
It's a penal colony / forge, and she has what's supposed to be a queen alien inside her. So rather than having Weyland Yutani get it, she falls backwards into a very, very hot vat of like molten. What was in the 90s with molten liquids?
And like it's like this big noble cause, like Terminator and all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Willie, I watched Alien and Aliens so far. I've watched those two.
What did you think of Aliens?
What did I think of Aliens? Well, I thought Alien was by far better.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a like the Marine talk and like
Yeah.
them out dude broing each other.
Yeah.
It got old real fast, especially Bill
Yeah.
Paxton. I like him,
Yeah.
and I know he was hamming it up and stuff, but that got old really fast.
I think my favorite character from the Marines, besides Hicks, of course, I got to go with the Sergeant.
Sarge was great, yeah.
Sarge was awesome.
Aesthetically, it was too bright.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like it. I thought it was good, and I see what everyone says now that they're totally different, different
They
themes.
are.
Oh, look at this! Look at this!
Splatterhouse 2. And
Splatterhouse 2, baby.
before I forget, I did watch Boogie Nights last night before I watched
You did?
Night of the Living Dead. I did. I actually really enjoyed it. It was an awesome movie. Certainly not something you could stream.
You wouldn't want to watch it with everyone. Now you can see what I
No.
was talking about.
Yeah.
Right? It's a little much to watch it with your
Yeah.
buddies. I think. I don't know.
Certainly not something you watch with your parents in the room.
Yeah, but you that end scene, right, with
Yeah.
Alfred, what's his face? Isn't that great?
Oh, yeah. That's
It's
awesome.
it's like 15 minutes long, and there's that one great shot. We're talking about Boogie Nights, guys. There's that one
Yeah.
great shot where Mark Wahlberg, he just starts to tweak out, and then he like just stares. He's just staring at the camera
Yeah.
for like a minute straight.
Yeah.
Well, like Sister Christian is playing by Night Ranger. Oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
so good.
That was, honestly,
Yes,
I would put that in one of my favorite movies now.
It's amazing. The movie's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like everyone's all coked out and they're all starting to
Yeah.
trip out. And Alfred, his name's Ray Had Jackson, his character,
Yeah.
but he freaks out. He's talking about mixtapes where he's like, I don't want the artist telling me what order I'm gonna listen to the music in. I'm gonna do whatever the F I want, and then the music stops.
Yeah.
The tape flips and it's dead silent. It's just the movie's so good. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can't say enough good things about it.
It's an awesome movie. And getting back to like Alien and Aliens, yes, very different. The original Alien, I'd certainly say it's a lot more like Isolation. It's very psychological horror.
Well, you know what? Everyone kept saying to me that Alien is the scary one and Aliens is the action one. Man, over like the halfway point of Aliens, it's frightening.
Yeah.
Especially when you see all the aliens, they have to weld all the doors shut
Yeah.
because they're coming from everywhere. And
Yeah.
I think that's just as scary as the first one. It's just not as dark
No.
until you get to like
No.
the ending, right?
Yeah. Screamers, also a classic 80s horror movie. Yes,
Ooh, I've never seen that
Screamers.
one.
Screamers, 1991, done with a lot of Canadian talent. Lots of fun.
Cool. I'll have to look into that. I don't even know what that one's about.
It's very kind of cheesy, but really well done considering the budget.
Shout out to Splatterhouse 2.
Mhm.
What the hell's a synth? Oh, those androids. Don't do that, Torshi. Actually, we're playing part 4 this week. So I'm excited. We just got the flamethrower. Oh, yeah. Anyway, shout out to Splatterhouse 2. The only Splatterhouse that I do not have, but I believe it's the most expensive out of all 4 of them.
Perhaps you'll find it while hunting.
I've seen it, dude. It was at We Got Games. It was $449.
Oh, really?
And the cart, well, in that video, you can see it if you pause it, right? But
I think I did.
the cart had some stickerware and there was no book, and it was $449. And I'm not saying that that's not what it's worth, but I couldn't do it. If I'm going to spend that much on a game, it's going to have to be complete and in really great shape.
Yeah.
But
in order to pull a trigger on a price like that. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Well,
Sleepaway Camp's awesome.
That's like when I hear people say, oh, well, I got this copy of Chrono Trigger. I'm like, if I'm dropping like $1,200 on a game, it better be like sealed in box.
Yeah, for me, the sealed doesn't. I don't really care about the sealed because
but
like a sealed game like multiplies it by 10 times the amount usually.
Yeah.
right?
But I mean, if I'm paying, especially like I've seen unsealed ones for 800. Well, if I'm paying 800, it better have the book and it better be in really good condition.
Right. I would agree. Jimmy and Bimmy go to 16-bit. I never did play Double Dragon on Genesis, but definitely looks like more like the arcade.
Mhm.
And again, I love Double Dragon 2 and 3 on NES. One's okay. But again, like Final Fight on Super, taking out the second player, I think, was a huge mistake. Shout out to the History of Splatterhouse video, Jay, for those here who don't know, please. I made a video called The History of Splatterhouse. You guys should check it out.
It's really cool. I really enjoyed it because when you do like these history videos, I learned so much. Like with your history of Little Samson, for example.
Yeah, working on the next one. Those ones take a while, so
yeah. Well, you got to capture the gameplay and also dig in deep to the history.
Who remembers Kid Chameleon?
I remember it.
I believe I played this when we were playing a Genesis collection once, like a couple of years ago. One of my early streams.
Yeah.
So he was a short-lived Sega mascot who would find different masks and transform into different characters. Now, like the idea of that is really awesome. As you can see, he turns into like a ninja, he turns into Jason, a bunch of different characters, right?
Yeah.
But when we were replaying it, one thing I noticed is that the controls were really, really rough.
Yeah.
Really rough. They were very like everything felt like you were on ice,
Yeah.
Dale says, I used to have Splatterhouse by itself. The second one is very expensive, couple $100 right here. Yeah, the first one is only on Turbo, unless you're getting the Namco. One of the Namco collections has the arcade version, but the red masked version is only on the Turbo Graphics. Kid Chameleon's great, Batstan. It's an awesome game. Just didn't hold up as much as I would have liked. Axe Battler. Oh, this is when they tried to turn Golden Axe into like
a Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, it looks like kind of sort of Vermilion-ish.
Yeah.
Here. Never played Axe Battler. Here's one way to take Sonic the Hedgehog wherever you go. You can cut him out. That's pretty funny.
I wonder if anybody actually cut Sonic out.
I never did, but I'm sure that there was some people. How can Family Guy have 0 votes in the poll? I mean, all 19 of you guys voted. No one voted for Family Guy. I'm shocked. King of the Hill got a vote. Will over friggin' Family Guy. Come on.
Wow.
Torshi did. There you go. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Torshi, I don't know if you were here when I talked about how there would be 4 different game magazines that I would buy every month. And the one was called Video Games and Computer Entertainment. And I actually found a bunch of issues of that too. But that I called the poster magazine because I found the writing in that not as great as EGM or GamePro. Mm-hmm. But I would buy Video Games and Computer Entertainment just to tear out ads like this. And my whole bedroom was covered. There was not one space in between each ad. It was just, I thought it looked damn cool, man.
Well, that was how we decorated back in the day. It's not like our parents gave us a great decorating budget.
And I was a master at taking them out without like ripping. Of course, you had to rip them out, but I wouldn't like rip the page at all.
Yeah.
A master. Oh, man. Oh, is there any other hell hotter than if you were to have to play Pit Fighter on Game Boy? Oh,
I'm sure Sushi X had a lot to say about this one.
Pit Fighter on Game Boy. I would rather play Pac-Man on the 2600 without a controller than play Pit Fighter on Game Boy. Ugh. Brutal. Yeah. Sorry. Batman Return of the Joker on Game Boy. Not too bad. Not too bad.
I remember playing it on the NES.
That was a great game. That was a
Yeah.
great game.
Oh,
Where are we? Sorry.
we
go ahead.
also had an ad to the Super NES Buyer's Guide.
Yeah. I didn't find that, guys, in my tubs of EGMs. I wasn't too keen on the buyer's guides as much, but just to have that for the Belmont, that would be awesome.
Yeah. I do remember I bought a lot of the holiday gift guides because you always had so many cool things.
Yeah, I always liked issues like this, like the year in preview.
Yeah.
Because, you could still like read it a few months past and you could still pick it up and read it because, this game hasn't come out yet. This game hasn't come out yet.
Oh, I wonder when it's due out.
Yeah. Adventure Island maps. And again, shout out to Retro Mags. How they'll split it. And if it was a double pager like that, they put it together like that. So I think that's great.
Yeah. I absolutely love Retro Mags because archiving this stuff is so important.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to this kid.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to this kid with his Indiana Jones satchel, the gamekeeper. See, before he was just walking around, games falling out of his shirt. He's holding the battery charger pack in his hand. He's got headphones dangling. I mean, you can't play Game Boy games like that. You can't.
No.
You need something to carry them in. Now we got the gamekeeper.
Hey, I've actually found one on eBay.
I was just going to say, could somebody look up the average price of a gamekeeper on eBay? Den's already
We've got one that's original, authentic, for $71.97 Canadian.
Plus
$41.39 shipping from the United Kingdom.
This would have been perfect. Remember when James Rolfe did the peripherals episode?
Yeah.
I know it was all NES peripherals, but this would have been cool to have like the Indiana Jones satchel to go along with the rest of the outfit.
Yeah. They've also got another one for $37. They've got one Game Boy Gamekeeper case plus 6 games, all working and tested, plus the Game Boy with the magnifier on it for $483.18.
Yeah, that's a little too much for me.
Yeah. It's
a little too much for me.
They've got the 1991 Gamekeeper carrying case print ad / poster official art, and they want $20 just for that page.
Wow. Torshi's saying 30 to 40 average nowadays, almost the average price of those third-party game cases. I mean, you know what? You want to try and collect something in the video game realm that not a lot of people do. Try and go after like third-party Game Boy like accessories. Like, you know how friggin' hard that would be? Or I would say even like third-party controllers in general from this generation.
Yeah. Well, we certainly know that Bishu is a tough one to find.
Yeah, well, we've been to a bunch of stores and a couple of the owners don't even know what that is. And admittedly, before we started rereading these again, I had no idea. I didn't recall what Bishu was until we saw it, right? Once again, shout out to Retro Mags, guys. Go on over. You can find the link to their website in the description of all our EGM videos. You can download the PDF file as well if you want to read along with this on Sundays, just to make it a bit bigger on your screen or phone, wherever you're reading it from.
Yeah.
But there it is right there.
It's a great way to go through the mag with you. And it's always fun.
Splatterhouse 2 is awesome. Yeah, I've only played a bit of it. The one thing I didn't like about it, Cutthroat, was the as much as I like the way the Genesis sounds, the sound effects I found in Splatterhouse 2 were not even close to the TurboGrafx. I don't know. It was just kind of all right. I gotta play through it again, but
And Raj, I know that I had posted the retro games stream or the retro mags
Yeah.
link to you because I told you about the Nintendo Power. And I think Jade just kind of thought, hey, let's go through an old issue of EGM one Sunday.
Yeah, it was really what we were doing was just a trip down memory lane kind of thing. I remember we were going to do like an EGM, and then every month we were going to kind of switch it. We were going to do Nintendo Power, and I actually still have Nintendo Power number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right here? Let me hang on. We just looked that up. I think I have it right here. I do have it right here. Yeah, I have it right here.
Yeah.
Like we were going to do a different magazine every single week.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Nice. And I mean, one thing I like about EGM is we get this nice mix of all the consoles, all the games coming out, no matter the system.
Yeah, it represents everything. And dude, like I think it's all safe to say that everyone our age, our hearts, like Nintendo Power will always pull at our heartstrings, right? I mean, look at this amazing photograph.
Yeah.
Like their first, I would say, was it 15, 20 issues. It was all like claymation, original claymation designs, and then photographed beautifully like this. Like this is incredible looking to me. Yeah. It's so good. We're not going to go through this whole thing, but the point is, I still have this Nintendo Power issue 1 downloaded from when we were going to flip flop, but then just EGM for me, it's my favorite. So,
well, I mean, I remember reading a lot of the early EGMs. Later on, I kind of eased out of it, but I love EGM because we are getting to see the whole picture of the gaming industry at this time.
Somebody call the power line right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm not responsible. I'm gonna call it. I don't even want to know what I'm gonna get.
Watch it be waking some woman up in the middle of the.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Works nights.
But out. Nintendo Power is great.
Yeah,
but it's just Nintendo. You know what I mean? It's just Nintendo. So we still haven't done Game Pro yet, but I think what I would do is if we were going to do a Game Pro or if we were going to do a Nintendo Power, there's no way that I'm going to stop the EGM run. But what I think I would do is continue. Do you know what I mean? So we're at March 1992 for Electronic Gaming Monthly. So if we wanted to look at Nintendo Power, I would do March 1992. Because I don't think going back like this, you don't want to go back, right? We're already kind of going through history. So going back, but look at this. Look at the maps. Like
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Like, do you need maps for Mario 2? No, you don't. But it's cool.
Yeah. And I mean, the art in this, of course, was very much on point. You had the Nintendo artists who could do this stuff in their sleep.
Yeah, so look at that. Roughly 24 pages of Mario 2. Yep. Amazing. Right? We got Zelda. Look, this stuff is just cool. But we're not going to get into Nintendo Power. My point was I still have that downloaded on my desktop from when we're going to switch back and forth. But we're sticking with EGM, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm hoping that hopefully at least during December, maybe even November, maybe we can break into some of the holiday buying guides from EGM.
That would be fun.
Because those were, again. Oh, yeah.
How many times did we all rent movies based on the cover art? Yeah. Or games.
Games,
right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you look at like modern games now. Like I remember with the PS4 gen picking up and you would have great cover art and you would flip it over and sometimes you wouldn't even get a picture of the game. It's like, I mean, I know we have the internet now and stuff, but it seems to be like a lost art form.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Didn't Rob do a documentary?
Rob did a series called Box Art, video game box art. Yeah.
I still have to check that one out. I can't find it anywhere.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, contact him. I'm not too sure where it is.
Yeah.
But,
might even be on his YouTube channel by now.
Torchy, that's not my song. It's a good song, but it's not my song.
But yeah, I mean, the art back then, it was just at a different level
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it had to stand out. Like same with like toys, you know, it had to catch your eye among a lot of competition.
Few housekeeping things. New channel members, under the community tab, under the members only tab, you will see my Discord name. If you're interested in coming into our community Discord, just add me. Okay, we can get you in there. We have a lot of fun, and it's a way for everyone to hang out outside of the streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is it. I am off for the streaming until Wednesday. I stream Wednesday through Sunday. I'll be working on videos the next couple of days. And if you guys haven't checked out my latest video, Will and I return to Brody's Gaming and Collectibles. Make sure you check it out. Let me know what you think. Comment. Let me know what games you would have picked up instead of the ones we picked up. I would like to thank, as always, our good buddy here, our moderator, Den of Geek, for jumping in Willie's absence. So thank you.
Happy to jump in when I need to. Neutron says, "Gotta run, guys. Need to catch up with Den's avatar." Yup.
All right, brother. All right. Thanks, Den. We'll catch you later.
All right. Have a
Take
good one,
care, my
everyone.
friend. And you guys have yourselves a great Sunday. We will see you bright and early Wednesday. My schedule for streaming will be up tonight or tomorrow. So check that out. Thank you, guys. Till next time.